So pretty much yesterday, I decided that I want to take part in a readathon for what's the next month? August? Oh dear, this is going well. But yeah, I want to take part in a readathon for August, but I wanted one that was going to be kind of more chill. Some readathons out there, I think that they are amazingly designed. Like the idea of, having team-based things where you like compete against each other and there's like sabotaging and all these different ways to earn points. And yes, it's all very exciting, but it's also very stressful. So I was looking for something that was a little bit challenging, but not too challenging. Like it feels like something that is going to be more fun than it is hard yakka? So I have decided that I'm going to be taking part in Deck of TBR-a-thon for August, which is effectively like a playing card based, I don't know, gamed system for like how to select things to put on your reading list, which I thought was pretty cool. So this one's going to be hosted by Becca from Becca Books and Bujo and Chloe of Always Booked. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to set something up in my reading journal for it. If you want more information about like how to actually get involved, I will find you a link. I'll put it in the description box. The way it works effectively though is that anytime you go to read a book, you just kind of draw a card from a standard 52 deck of cards. They also have an online generator for that, so you don't actually have to have a card. And then once you get the card, you then need to pick a book based on whatever prompt you pull. So in terms of like, I'll just grab you a picky because it makes it a little bit easier to understand if we have something like that. So let's see, we've got that one here. That looks good. So for the entire deck, effectively, except for Jokers, they've got a kind of like link of a prompt to each of the different numbers that you pull, not so much the suits. So it doesn't really matter if it's like a diamonds or a clubs or whatever, but based on the number, you pick a book from the prompt that's given to that number. They also have different tiers of it. So it's like 1 point, 3 points, or 5 points, which is effectively just like harder versions of the same prompt. So you can kind of see in black is where the overall kind of term for the prompt is, and then you've got the kind of specifics of 1 point, 3 points, 5 points. So it is technically team based. You have two teams, either like team red or team black, based on how you like to read, which I thought was kind of cool because I find that some of the ones that are team based, they have a lot of different teams, and it feels like the teams can get very, very unbalanced. And I know that people do things, in terms of like point calculations to kind of make it so that then there's not as many points. Not the word. It's more fair. It's like an average, right? And I know that they said that they're going to be taking an average in this one. So if the teams do get a little bit unbalanced, like it doesn't really matter so much. But at the moment, or at least yesterday, it seems that the teams are fairly balanced, which is always kind of nice. Like, yes, you can do the averages to take things out, but there's always going to be a certain percentage of people who start a readathon and they just don't finish. Like that's fair and that's fine, and I totally get it. I am probably going to be that way inclined. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try. So I'm just excited that this feels like something that's going to just be more fun than it is competitive. But I want to set something up in my journal for it, especially for the prompts and also probably for things that I end up reading because of the prompts. They do have a couple of other rules in terms of like what counts, like in terms of like length of book. I think it has to be 50 pages at least, which I that seems fair, I guess. If the point or the aim is to read more, then having books that have at least 50 pages feels right. So I'm excited to get into it, but first we actually need to set something up in here for it. And I was kind of wondering about this because I have most of my, new year, new reading journal, but actually in the same book stuff here, right? So we've got like, my 2024 reading goals, which I might just write down, like, do something else in somebody else's readathon. So that'd be like doing this one instead of doing my own readathon. We've got my 24 and 2024, which I've already finished. We've got my 2024 reads, which I was saying to myself, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to attach another page. And then since Fourth Wing, I have not been able to finish a book. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. Like, Deb's calling me out. She's like, no, ma'am, you are not abandoning me halfway through. I'll probably just get a bit slack. Okay, so that's the nice thing about this readathon, I think, is that you get all the prompts up front. It's not this kind of like slow drip fed prompt drop, which means you know what's coming. Like you can take the entire deck of cards, and like all of the numbers and kind of assign reads to them ahead of time if you want to, and then just read them when you pull that card. Or you could, like me, be team mood reader because that's how it's split, whether you're a mood reader or not a mood reader. You can just decide as you go, as you pull cards. I'm gonna flick you guys a video that introduces it because I think that Becca's doing a much better job explaining it, which kind of makes sense because it's her readathon. And Boudreaux. And specifically, I found out about this readathon because Monica linked it in our new Discord for the, I don't know, Boudreaux Buddies Book Club. So if you want to join our Discord, you can also do that. That's where we host our book club. That's where we host our readathon. It's where we do, share links to reading sprints and all of this kind of stuff so that then people who enjoy bookish stuff, they can kind of all just get together and have a good time because it's fun. It's a good time. So let's see. I need to find this video for you. Share that link. There we go. I mean, don't watch it right now because obviously you're here chilling with me, but save the link for later so that you know what's going on. In terms of like actually getting involved with it though, after you watch the video, she tells you like, hey, in the description box below, we have a link to a form that you can fill in to, actually sign up properly and stuff. And that one just lets you get access to their Discord group that you can kind of share your reads and stuff like that. So a bit of fun. But reads, top of the year, my bingo boards, which are going fairly well. We've got our book club-esque stuff, so book club reads for this year, the rules for the book club, and then a bit more of a breakdown of what went head-to-head in terms of doing the vote, just because it's kind of nice to keep a track of who was the winner versus who was the runner-up. Let's see, how do you feel about audiobooks with regard to your plan? Yay audiobooks. I don't tend to listen to a lot of audiobooks myself because I don't have a service to do that. Like, I don't have Audible or anything like that, or I can't remember what the other one's called. I mean, there are probably a couple of other ones. I don't have those. I'm more of an e-reader. I prefer to do like digital book reading rather than physical book reading. It's just a little bit easier for me, but let's see. I mean, I don't know if they have a rule against it. I don't believe they have a rule against it. I can't recall there being a rule against it. I'll probably have to put the rules in here so that I know what they are. Oh dear. So we have the Google Readathon board, and I wish that I had done more for this because I know Rachel put her actual TBR in here and what she read and all of that kind of stuff, and it looked so cool. And I think that's why I want to set up a space in my journal for this readathon, just to kind of get more excited about it because it is exciting having stuff in your reading journal for it. So we've got my reading stats, which I have not filled in, but it's like I know what I read when, so I can really do it whenever. I just haven't gotten around to it. End of year review, which will funnily enough be at the end of the year. And then these ones were just other pages that I wanted to put in here as part of it. We've got buddy reads, buddy binges, because at the start of this year, I also decided this is not going to be just for reading. It will also be for other types of media as well. So a couple of pages that I need to fill in. I'm like, oh, maybe I can put the readathon here, but it feels really strange to have an August readathon in my kind of like January pages. So I was like, I don't really want to put them here, and they're kind of designated for something already. I just haven't set them up. And then we have the reviews. So all of these are just my little blurbs to say how I found any piece of media. Some of them I have still not filled in because I just got slack when I was reading that. But lots of these. These ones are ones I'm either currently reading or recently watched. I need to finish putting those lines in. I'm going to do that now before I forget. This pen is not going to be the same color, and it's going to make me a little sad. Oh, it's pretty good. Once I write over the top of it, it'll be a lot less noticeable, so that's okay. There we go. Yeah, I put the lines in a little bit too far over, but it's all good. Yay! Shouting out the deck of TBR-a-thon. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I just like the fact that you effectively end up reading as much as you typically read, or like, you can use it as an excuse to read more, but it's not like here's 50 prompts and you have to do all 50 in the month, or like, here's a prompt every 3 days and you have to finish it, otherwise you can't do the next one. I'm like, no, it sounds stressy. So I just like the fact that it's like, you pull the card, you pick the book, you read the book, and then you pull another card. Ha 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 ha. It's like you make your own kind of stack, which I like. So these ones are also things that I have either like watched, or I guess these ones are all watched. Technically, this could be for watched or read, things that I still need to go and put some reviews in for. And then this one is our book club book for this month. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to read it this month because I don't want to spin the Wheel of Sadness. So I'll put that one in. And then I'm currently reading When the Moon Hatched. It's taking me a while. I mean, everything I'm reading at the moment is taking me a while. I'm technically partway through 3 books, which makes me very uncomfy because usually I'm the kind of person who I read one, I finish it. I start the next one, I finish it. I start the next one, I finish it. Whereas this time it's like I have too many on the go at once, but I'll get them done. So I figured what I would do is I'd leave this page for more reviews because there's only 2 things left, and I feel like that's probably all I'll get done before the end of this month. And then I could start my kind of TBR-a-thon pages here. So my general thinking was to put in little pictures of the cards because I think that like that's kind of part of the fun, right? So maybe go find some little pictures of the cards and then print them out and then write next to them what the rules were, or like what the prompt kind of, I don't know, descriptors were, I suppose. The nice part about the prompt descriptions is that they are not very long, so I don't think it'll take up like a whole line. So I could possibly do a kind of like 2-column system, which would be like, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, and then an ace down the bottom, which kind of fits with the little piece of tape that I already have in here. Because originally this was going to be for reviews, and normally for reviews I just put a little bit of tape on, and then eventually go and stick some little stickers on there to, make it look a little bit fancy. When the Moon Hatched is long, yeah, it is a little long, but I don't think it's long enough for me to warrant taking as much time on it as I am. Like, we just got to a part of the book where I'm like, this feels very side plotty and not in a way that feels super necessary. I don't know. I am technically enjoying it, but I think that segment of the book kind of dipped my enjoyment a little bit. But I will hold any kind of formal reviewing until I've actually finished it. So I think I'm gonna get out a pencil so that I can actually start planning this one out because I don't want to go in without really having a plan for this because that's how mistakes happen. And I'd prefer not to make a lot of mistakes on this one. I did go and find the Wikipedia page for a standard 52 deck of cards so that I could just steal the deck of card images off of there to print off and stick into my journal. But I'm also thinking, like, maybe I could find some cuter ones to put in here, possibly. But I feel like those are probably gonna be harder to find, so I might just put in, like, a little space for it. Let's see. Yay, do you have a video for setting up a media bullet journal? I have one for setting up my reading journal, and I find that media journals end up kind of being the same as reading journals, you just kind of expand on them. So I don't have one for like a media journal set up specifically, but at the end of this year, I certainly will because I'll be setting up one for next year and I'll probably continue with it being not just for books because it makes it a nice little space to record all of the things that I've been watching as well as reading or playing, like Inside Man, Anyways, so someone please catch me up on this deck of TBR-a-thon. I have linked a video. I'll put it in the description as well, just so that then people can go and check out the official kind of rules from someone who's a lot more official than me about it. So I think that if I want the system in here, like if I put the system here for like assigning things and then have a little space for rules here, because I don't think there are any rules in particular that are really going to catch me out. Let's see. So audiobooks count, yay. Manga and graphic novels count, yay. Rereads count, yay. Okay, so DNFs count, but you have to have read at least 50% for them to count. And then you log your books as you go so you don't forget, which I kind of like. And then the winning team will be calculated taking the total points divided by the number of participants in order to make it fair. It's one of those things, right? Like, because it's divided by the number of participants, I don't want to let my team down. Like, dink. In terms of DNFs in my journal, I put them on my DNF list, which is, I think, further back than this. Because I set this one up yesterday. Whoa. I set this one up last year. It means that I have some pages that are kind of a little bit more what's the word? They have more longevity than just like a yearly page. This is one of them because I don't DNF things very often. So the only book that I have so far officially DNF'd was the 4-Hour Work Week because it was just taking me way too long to read, to the point where I'm like, I really need to start this book again if I'm gonna get a lot of value out of it. And I'm just being a little bit slack about whether I want to do that. Yeah. Let's see. Definitely notice the uptick of people bullet journaling also having a reading journal. Why do you think they go in hand so well? I'm not sure about it, but I feel like maybe I know for me it was FOMO. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, I set this up specifically because I had FOMO. But I think that possibly it's just like another style of creativity that still fits with the same kind of skill set. Kind of like how Mark and I talked about the idea that scrapbooking is a gateway drug for bullet journaling, or at least like creative journaling, where you know, get to do a lot of like doodles and sticking and whatever and stuff like that. So it's like a lot of people who are scrapbookers are probably attracted to the bullet journaling like creative side, and a lot of people who are attracted to bullet journaling creative side are also probably attracted to reading journals. I think that in terms of for creators, like one of the things that I used to kind of like justify it to myself in terms of whether I was going to start one was like, oh, it's just another type of content that you can use. Like, you can use this for the for your channel as well, so why not? But let's say we're going to put a little box in here so that I can keep track of this. I don't know how big playing cards are. I feel like I should probably go and check that before I go and sketch out where they're going to go, and see if I actually have enough space for them. But yeah, I think that like possibly it's because it's the latest hip thing, because I feel like everybody started doing the reading journals all at once, and I know that, yeah, for me it was totally FOMO. But part of it could just be that like maybe we're just as a culture tending towards that kind of what's the word? Leisure kind of style or activity, especially if you think about it in terms of like, you know, pandemic era and stuff, how we weren't allowed to go outside. So in terms of kind of hobbies, well, reading is a hobby you can do from home quite easily. Like, you know, if you've got an e-reader, or if you've got a Kindle, or if you kind of sign up to Audible and listen to it through your computer or anything like that, it makes it a lot more accessible for people compared to the types of hobbies where you'd have to leave the house for them. So if you're wondering, this is a B5 ruler from Archer and Olive. It came in their latest subscription box, which means that it's technically not available anymore, I think, but it has been quite handy. I've been using it a lot when I was doing my B5 layouts that I released a video about earlier last week, or like within the last 2 days, I think, but it's actually quite useful because it has the box numbers, so I've been using it for that. So if we've got 38, and each of these card boxes is possibly going to take up 4. I can't do that kind of math in my head. Ha ha ha. Let's see. 38 divided by 4 gives me 9.5, which is plenty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only need 7. So what's 7 times 4? 7 times 4 is 28. So 38 minus 28 gives me 10, which means that I will technically have enough space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I totally have enough space for at least one between. Let's see. I know that I'm just doing random calculations out loud, and you're probably like, Jess, what are you talking about? I just am trying to figure out how much space to leave between each of the little cards that I'm sticking on here, so that I can set up a layout that feels balanced and put together nicely, as opposed to one that looks a little bit mank. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I decided I needed 7 though, didn't I? So I can't do it so that there's 2 spaces between each of the cards. I'll have to do it so that there's 1 space between each of the cards. And this is why we start with pencil. All right. It's pretty close. I just needed like 1 more dot grid space, but alas, I don't have that in this journal. Let's see. So yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll have the cards on this side, which is why I'm drawing them out on this side. I'm going to do a little rules list, and I'll probably do it on one of those library cards, because I think that it looks cute when it's written out like a little official rules list, especially because the wording on the rules I can probably abridge to make simpler, kind of similar to what we had on me trying to remember where things are in this journal is not good. But similar to what we have here. So it's just like, here's the rule number, which they're just arbitrary. I just assign them based on what I've written in what order, and then write down what the rule is next to it. So I'll probably do something like this and stick it in. I'll do that one here. And then underneath that, I can probably write out a list of specifically like which cards did I pull, what prompt did I use, or like what point number, and then what read did I have. So this will be like the summary, and then after that we'll get into just like regular reviews and stuff. So that'll be nice and easy mode. So we decided that we can only do one break per. And once we sketch this out, we're going to go and download a card picture to see what the dimensions are and how I can fit them into the journal. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to have it that the ones in the first 6 slots, it's 2 columns. So I'll be like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10, yada, yada, yada. And then down the bottom is where the ace is, because the ace is a little bit more special. And then along the top, I have enough space to put in some kind of a header, just using like my decorative tapes and stuff like that, which we'll do in a second. So first time you've actually made it to the live. Yay! Well, I'm glad that you could be here live. It's always nice when you can make it along for the, actual live stream. I need to be really careful here because I was like, oh yeah, 16, that's a halfway mark. No, it is not. This is not a B5 journal. We need to make sure that it is at 13. Thank you very much. That could have been bad. So I've decided that each of these cards is going to be 2 centimeters tall, because I figure that that gives me enough space to write out the general prompt and then the 3 separate point prompts. So I'll just reshare the picture with you so that you can kind of see what I mean. So you see on this one, you've got the black text, which is kind of like the overall wording for the prompt. So it's like, if you draw a 4, then you need to read a long book. But then the points, which are next to it in the little white boxes, that's like, okay, for 1 point, it needs to be over 400 pages. For 3 points, it needs to be over 500. For 5 points, it needs to be over 600 pages. So I figured that that kind of like works for having it 2 centimeters. And then because we've got the break, it'll be nice and easy to like kind of distinguish between them, which is kind of nice. Needing to plan your deck of TBR on page in your reading journal too, and I'm making it easier. Nice. We can just like have the same layout. That'll be cute. So now as I've got that in there with the general structure of how I want it, we're going to go and see what kind of spacing you need for a card, so I can see how far over each of those little boxes needs to be. Is this? No, I've actually good. I've turned the autofocus off, otherwise it gets really, really uncomfortable to watch. But turning it back on again, so hopefully you can see my very faint pencil sketches just to give me an indication of where each of those are going to be. I've totally missed one in the middle, but I know it's where it's supposed to be, so that's fine. But it just gives me a bit more guidance when it comes to putting things in, sticking them in and such. But we want to go and make a kind of reference sheet. So for that, I'm going to be using, unsurprisingly probably, I'm going to be using Microsoft Word, because that's what I typically use for this kind of stuff. And we're also going to need the deck of cards, so we'll put that over here. I do recognize that you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll show it to you in a second. There we go. Entire screen. There we go. Fabulous. So here's my little document that I've got. I've literally just opened it. And when I do my sticker sheets, which is effectively what I'm going to print this off on so that I don't have to actually stick things in properly, I like to make it so that the margins are quite small, because I don't want to waste any space on this. So we're going to make it, oh gosh, I know that it's quite thin. Literally going to get like the remnants of one out and just measure it with an actual ruler, because I can't measure it with the B5 stencil. Doesn't work. So along the top of the page, centimeters please, I need to leave at least 4 millimeters. So we're just going to do top 045, and then the bottom will have the same 045, and then along the left I need to leave, let's not measure from that side's messy. I need to leave at least 5 to 5.5, so I'm going to do 0.56. This is effectively just so it doesn't print in that region of the sticker paper that has the kind of edge, I suppose. So if we just go over here for a second, hopefully you can kind of see that there's this, like, again with the autofocus, this edge that comes off that's not actually part of the main sticker sheet. I don't want to print things on there because then my sticker effectively gets cut off. The gutter, thank you. Yeah, I don't know technical terms. I'm just like, it's the edge piece thingy. The gutter. Yes, we don't want to print on that because then you have to try and effectively print and like stick them in like in strips, which is messy. And I know I've got an example of it. Oh, literally on the next page over. So this one for Schitt's Creek season 2, this part here is actually a separate little sticker piece, which you probably can't see because I tried to do a fairly good job, but maybe you can just see the fact that it doesn't line up quite there. It's like got this little dip, like the tiniest dip ever, and maybe the little line at the bottom here or something. That's because it's technically 2 pieces. It's a term from comic books, so you're not sure if it's official. I'm taking it. I think that it sounds official enough. It's a better term than I was using. Let's put it that way. So we want to try and make it so that we have like space on the sheet that we're using to allow for that kind of white space to not get printed on, because I don't want to print on the white space. So moving on. What sticker paper brand are you using? I use Avery because it's more readily available. I know that people in the States like to use online labels. Those ones are good alternatives. But the shipping for online labels for where I'm based, way too expensive. So I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work out. So we want the standard deck of cards. I've literally got a little Wikipedia page here with the little decks of cards and such. And one of the things that I thought was pretty cute was that on the kind of official document for the TBR-a-thon, they were using kind of a mix of, you know, a diamond and then a club and then a heart and then a spade or whatever. So I think I'm going to do the same kind of thing. So we're just going to randomly say that we're going to do diamond first. We're going to open link in a new tab. Is it a link? Yeah, okay. So we've got the diamond there. And then for a 3, I'm going to do a club for no reason. And then we're going to do a heart for 4. And then a spade for 5. And then we'll just cycle through. So a diamond for 6. What do we say? Diamonds, then clubs, then hearts, then spades, then diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades. And then for the ace at the bottom, in my mind, I just want to do diamonds or spades. More, or maybe hearts. Okay, like that's literally all of them. Pick one. I think I want to do hearts because it just feels kind of cute, but I'm trying to think of where we'll end up in terms of at the bottom. So if at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there an official calendar for different readathons, or is it just word of mouth? That's a good question. A little bit of both, in the sense that I know Pages by Page does a really good wrap-up of what the different readathons that are going on in each of the months are actually going to be. So Pages by Page is a good one to check out. But she normally does that towards the end of the month, you know, after people have actually kind of announced it. So like at the end of July, she will do a video for August, which doesn't necessarily give you a lot of time to prep, but that's because she has to wait for people to announce that they're doing them. So she's totally one to check out for that. Otherwise, in our Discord, which I'll just see if I can bring it up. I don't know where it is. I'm gonna just not share for a second, just in case I bring up, like, I don't know, something scandalous. Probably not. It won't be scandalous. It's just me being silly. But in our beautiful Discord, there we go. Fabulous. You can see that we have a section. I'll make that a little bigger for you. Section down the side here, which is called Readathons, and then in there we have Readathon Watch. So anytime people find one, for instance, this one, what a coincidence. But once people find them, then they can just share them in here. So for instance, like the very first thing that was shared in here, scroll. oh, one of the first things was effectively just, hey, Pages by Page has told us that all of the July readathons are going to be yada, yada, yada. So then we've got them all in here. So you can totally come and join this space. If you want to join the book club too, fabulous. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But it's a nice place to kind of find a summary of them, which is very helpful. But we have our cards now. I'm just going to pick a heart for now because it feels right. And then we're going to copy these files into the document. Oh, I'm glad that you enjoyed the how to print book covers video, because I thought that would be one that could be helpful for people. Oh, dang, I actually have to copy the picture. Hate that. I was like, maybe I can just drag it across, but no, I can't. I'm also thinking with this is that, like, I don't think I want to print the red ones in color. I think that it would be kind of nice to have them in either like a sepia tone or just black, and then I can kind of like just color them in and really just kind of rely on the, what's this, kind of like picture, I suppose. But if we make this 2 centimeters, because we said it was going to be 2 centimeters, then across is 1.33, but it also feels a little squashed in some instances. So I was wondering, like, do I want to make them a little wider? Do I want to make them like, they're linked at the moment, so I can't really change them, but let's have a think about it. Before we do that, we're going to just bring all of our pictures across, and we'll decide in a second. Zoom this in a little so you can see what we're doing. I do not need this many cards, do I? Well, I've just got a couple out. There we go. So yeah, the readathon she's participating in, not running. Yes, to clarify, I am not the person in charge of this. I am just the person who is excited to be part of it. Let's see. So I'm going to need the other cards to bring over. We're just going to copy them in. So it's effectively, I copy the picture and then I come in here and use the change picture tool to just paste from the clipboard so that I don't have to resize things, which makes it nice and easy for me. It's better if ahead of time you've like specifically decided what your sizing is. So like for instance, right, if we have a look at this 4, those hearts look really squashed to me, so I want to make that picture a little bit wider, possibly yay wide, maybe. Let's go see, what does it say in the picture format? 2 centimeters by 1.5 ish, 1.49. That's 1.51. I don't think I can make this. That's 1.49. I don't know. That just looks like a more comfortable size to me compared to the ones that are a little bit more squish. So if I replace this one, it'll probably change the sizing on me though. So I don't want to do that. We'll have to figure it out in a second. That's a future me problem. For now, I'm going to just continue to bring all of my pictures in, because normally when I size things, the kind of ratio, dimensions, whatever, is fine, and I want to keep it that way. I don't often resize pictures where I'm only resizing one direction. I would usually just resize the whole thing to keep it in the dimensions that it was already in. There we go. Where were we? Copying and pasting. But I think that by having the alternating suits in terms of red, black, and then also in terms of like what the actual suits are, I suppose, I think it'll just look a little bit cute. I think that was something that was fun about the original as well. So I want to do it based on that. But just need to find some better pictures or find a way to make it so that I resize them all at once. I don't know if there's an easy way to do that in Word because I've not done it before. But copy. And if you are asking me questions in the chat, I'm not ignoring you. It's just that I have the picture open here that I'm trying to copy from, so I don't have the ability to see the other ones. Oh dear, something's gone amiss there, but that's fine. We'll fix that in a second. So another thing that makes me not so much want to do the color images is that when you get to the royal cards, I don't know what the royal cards are called, but they have a lot of blue on them as well, and that is not a color that I use in my reading journal. So I want to make sure that I don't have those in here. There we go. And a king from the clipboard, and then we need one more for the ace. The ace. Boom. Cute. And then I might need to copy those pictures across again, which is kind of frustrating, but they look kind of interesting right now, eh? They've kind of gotten a little bit odd looking. Gone a little pixelated, which is a little bit strange. I'll probably have to fix that. Let's see. If you select all and then adjust the sizing, it'll make them the same. I think the issue is that when I select them all, unless I'm going through, like, no, you can't. There doesn't seem to be an easy way to select them all without using maybe the... One of these ones will let me do it. I just don't know which one. Is it you? No. Will you let me select them? No, you're being a bit of a plonker too. Yeah, there is a tool in here that allows you to select multiple things. I just don't know which one it is. Oh, what's this? Shouldn't do that. That doesn't look right. Whee! But I'm not sure which one. Yeah, which means that I can't select them all at once and still have my picture format tab, which means I might have to resize them individually, but let's see. You got 100 sticker paper pack from Online Labels. It lasted you forever, and you don't think you've even used half the stack. Nice. No, I am doing control and select. I'm not completely inept. Like, it's not letting me do it. Like, that's me holding control. That's me holding shift, but it's cool. We'll figure it out in a second. So once you've got your pictures in the right kind of dimensions that you want, which I still need to do, then we can actually think about like printing them off. I wouldn't print them off as they are. One, because they're not the right size, and two, because I'm not using anywhere near enough of the page to warrant printing it yet. When I print on my sticker paper, I try to use as much of the page as possible because I don't want to waste any, because it's expensive, and it really bums me out when like I have ones like this where I've got a decent level of white space. What a waste. But I think that what we're going to try and do with these ones, once I go and resize them effectively, is then desaturate them or like change the color of them or something. But it looks like I can get them to be 1.5. So for now, we're just going to continue on in here. So if it's 1.5, then that's 3 squares across. So I know where to stop. All good. Just put my little line in. And what I think I'll do is that I will highlight the top bar so that I can see like the overall general prompt, and then underneath that we won't have it highlighted. So for that one, I'm going to use my 990 because that's what I use in the entire of this journal. Let's see. Oh yeah, I do keep the leftovers for covering mistakes, but my covering mistakes little drawer is getting... like, it's got space in it, but it's like I have so many of them now that I just don't really need anymore, because this roll of stickers is also what I use to cover mistakes, because it's also just white labels, and they are like, I've got ample on that roll left as well, so it's like I don't really need them so much, but they do help, especially in my current journal because it is quite smudgy, which is kind of frustrating, to be honest. I went too far over. We're going to fix that with one of those stickers. I forgot that the line isn't where I'm aiming towards. It's just a reference, but that's cool. There we go. So this is where I'll put in the general kind of term for the prompt or the header or whatnot. And then underneath that is where I'll write in the rest. I figured I'll put the ace here and then maybe put some decoration down the bottom to fill in the space. There we go. Now I think the ones on this side are technically going to be one line or like one dot grid space longer, just because I split the page directly in half. And I want to have that separation between where the pictures are on this side versus where the headers are on this side. But that's all good. There we go. Also, don't forget, tink. Fancy meeting you here. Nice. I didn't realize that Kay's stream was over, but I'm glad that you are here. It's a pleasure to have you here. So I'm going to probably cover this mistake here before I forget, because that's probably a good idea. That's one where I will just definitely use little pieces of sticker paper. We just need to find one that's roughly the right width because I don't want to cover up more than I need to. It's not hard to do that though, because most of them are pretty straightforward. I think this one probably looks like it'll be a fairly good match for that part of the paper. There we go. And then we just cut that off with a craft knife, make it a little easier. Let's see. Have you ever tried using part of a sticker sheet and then saving the rest for printing on later? I haven't, only because I feel like trying to sort out the sizing would be, I'm going to say, more hassle than it's worth. It's not necessarily what I mean, but normally I don't have a lot of trouble finding enough stuff that I want to print to be able to use up the majority of the sticker sheet. So like, for instance, in this one where I'm printing off these little cards, I will just fill the rest of the sheet with books that I know that I want to read, and then I just tuck them into the back of my journal here. So I like to keep, this is a series that Rachel said that I should read, so I've got them in here, and then I've also got all of the ones in the back pocket here, which are ones that I'm like, it's like, this is my TBR effectively. So I keep my TBR as little printouts in the back of my journal, just so that then when I do either, have a point where I'm like, oh, I want to read something, but I don't know what to read, then I can come back here. Or once I read it, I don't have to go and print it off again. But so I can just find myself a little series that I'm interested in, and then go and put those in the sheet that I'm printing off to make it so that I don't waste any space. So we're going to have to pull up the prompts, and then we're going to go and write them in. That seems quite reasonable. Now, where did I put those prompts? Oh my gosh, I've got too many tabs open. I'm just going to close some so that I have a little bit an easier time navigating my computer. Oh my gosh. Nope, that's just YouTube. Like, the ones that I have like a singular tab open and there's nothing going on in it, I'm like, what are you doing, lady? So bringing those up again, we'll just chuck them there. So we'll zoom in a little bit, just a little bit. Come here. So number 2. So we've got related to your last read. I think that for the headers, I'm going to use a brown marker. Which brown? That's a great question. This one, maybe? I'm going to check the color of it in my book to make sure that I am happy with the color that I picked out. So this one is Statler number 48. Number 48 is Kalahari Orange, but I think I'd prefer Burnt Sienna, which is probably one that I have in my other pencil case. There we go. So we're going to use Burnt Sienna instead, because this one just feels a little bit too orange, which is funny because, like, the name literally says orange in it, so probably. Let's see. So I'm going to write in the main headers with this. I'm just going to use my regular all caps, I think. I could do some kind of like a serif lettering style if I wanted to, but I'm not super inclined to. So, related to your last read. Related to last read. I need to make this a little bit more abridged because these spaces are a little bit smaller. So on your owned TBR, it's going to be really awkward when I pull that card and I don't own any books. Is there any that are just like on your TBR? Because I might just reword it to that, because it's the descriptors of them that come after the fact kind of elude the fact, if that makes sense, just because this is small. So on, let's see, ONED TBR, the abridged, all goods. Long book, nice. Long book, host, read. We have scrolling, random read. And this one is someone else picks. I can probably fit that. Someone else picks. Gorge. There we go. Just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. We'll make it that. There we go. So you can see I've just gone and written in the kind of black box text. Some of them a little abridged. So instead of the one that says, what was it, like on your owned TBR, because I was kind of a bit tentative about whether I'd fit the word your in, I just made it on owned TBR because it's like, I still know what that means. It's all good. So scooting over to the next line. So number 8 is book in a series. In a series. And then we have on the cover and Goodreads. And that's all about like Goodreads ratings. So is it? Yeah, so it's high rating, low rating, and then less than 1,000 ratings. I'm just gonna write ratings to help myself out because otherwise I'll look at that and I'll be like, huh? So this will just that's a for me wording in the title and format. Format's gonna be hard because like I only read ebooks. But oh yeah, no, don't be silly, Jess. Don't be silly. You get to pick how many points you do. So like I don't have to do audio and I don't have to do physical. Ah, I love this challenge. This challenge is so good. So Goodreads ratings in the title. I keep on slipping into like hard mode, being like, you have to hit every prompt once. But it's like, no, that's not how it works. Format and genre. Format, genre, and then the ace host's pick, which is different to a host read. Hosts pick. Exclamation point, because yay. All right. So the general idea with that one is that if you pick an ace out of like when you're drawing them, you then have, we should have had you at the table. No. So when you pick, if you pick an ace out, instead of, using a set card prompt or whatever, you go to one of the hosts' YouTubes and you check out, I think it was like their most recent short, because they're going to be telling you what it is they're going to be pulling. So like, for instance, if I pull an ace and I go over to Becca's channel and she's recently, like the last thing she pulled out was a 5, then I go, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I need to use the prompts from here and I can pick 1 through 3 from that one. Or at least that's the way I understand it. And I hope I'm not talking schmack. Make sure that you go watch the original video. Anyway, now we need to go and actually write in the kind of specifics of the points. I'm going to write the point number in the brown pen, and then I'm going to go and write the actual point description in the black pen. Again, this side is more tight than that one is, so might need to fudge some wording a little so I can fit things in, but we're going to try and make it work. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. The host pick is kind of special because it's 1, 3, 5 based on whatever prompt you use. So I'm not going to put it in just yet because I'm not too sure what I want to write for it. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. I don't need to say them over and over again, but just in case I forget. 1, 3, 5. So cute. Now, for my regular writing in this journal, I like to use my Papermate Flair. No, what's the other one? Inkjoy. Oh my gosh, my baby. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I haven't been using this pen in my everyday journal at the moment because it's just too smudgy in that journal. Like the paper in that notebook, it feels coated. I can't confirm if it is, but it feels it. So I want to make sure that I'm not, smudging up a storm in my everyday journal. So in my everyday journal, I've been using the Sarasa Mark-On because it just dries a little bit faster. It's also a thinner tip, so it doesn't put down as much ink on the page, which has taken some getting used to. But this is still my baby, my tried and true. I love you so much. So moving on, we are going to put in the things here. So same genre, same color. Those ones are easier to write in. But then same letter of author's last name is going to be long. So I'm going to have to figure out how I word that to fit that in. But that's a future me problem. Same, what do we say? Genre. Same color. And same letter of author's last name. I wanted to start with same though. Same last name letter. Because I think that it's kind of implied, at least. I can go back to the original if I want to. It's kind of implied that it's about the author because not all characters have last names. So that should be okay. What millimeter inkjoy do you usually use? I use the 0.7 millimeter. Just such a beautiful pen, so gorgeous. I like it when my writing's a little thicker. I think it just looks a little bit nicer. Which I think is funny because I know that a lot of people use thinner pens because they're like, oh yeah, like it makes my handwriting look a little nicer. I do not find that that is the case for me. So acquired in the last 6 months. So owned TBR. So this is 5 years old. Over 5 years old. So I'm just going to do pluses and minuses. Plus 5 years. This one is plus 1 year. And then acquired in the last 6 months. Acquired in the last 6 months. Interesting. That leaves some kind of gray area, doesn't it? Because, like, what if you got it, like, 7 months ago, but it's not over a year old? Dun, dun, dun! Then it's just like, suck it, pick a different book. Okay, so acquired in the last 6 months. So minus 6 months. And this is where that says months. We're just gonna ignore that it says months instead of months. There we go. I fixed it. Not really. Whatever. I think that for that one, like you could use the like greater than, less than symbols, and it would probably look just fine. I used pluses and minuses because why not? Did you get any books on stuff on Kindle Day? I didn't realize there was. I don't know that Stuff Your Kindle Day was happening. So no, I didn't. Oh, I missed out. Oh dear. Okay, so something that I really want to read, which is completely unrelated to what we're actually doing right now, but something that I really want to read is The Princess Diaries. I read them when I was in like middle school or high school, whatever, probably middle school. But I just got like a mad nostalgia kick the other day. I'm like, oh my god, I really want to read those. So let's see, over 400 pages, over 500 pages, over 600 pages. So we're just going to do pluses because I've already started with that. So plus 400 pages, 500 pages, and 600 pages. Oh my gosh. Hope I don't pull that card. Too many pages. No. It was the 20th. Oh, we don't know about the next one. Yeah, see, this is the thing. I don't hear about them in advance just because that's obviously not the circles of the internet that I'm chilling in or something. But it often means that I do miss them, which, oh well, I suppose. Let's see. This one, host read. Any book a host has read. So I'm just going to write any host read. And then this one is rated 4 or 5 star, and then book from host's July TBR. Okay, so on host's July TBR, because I can fit that. And then rated 4 or 5 star. Nice. That one fits. Anyone know of an e-reader / app with decent TTS? I don't know what TTS is, so I don't think I can give you any recommendations for that. But maybe somebody else can. Let's see. Somebody else picks. Are we up to that? No, we're up to random read. Don't get ahead of yourself. That is something that I'm also really worried about, is writing these in and writing it in the wrong section. So random read is either a random color generator, random letter generator, or randomize my entire TBR. Which my TBR isn't very long, so it's not that bad if I randomize it, kinda. Unless I randomize my TBR and it's like the 3rd book in a series and you're like, great. Text to speech. Thanks, team. Alrighty. TTS. I still don't know a good recommendation, so I can't really help, but I learned something today. So random reads, we've got a random color generator. Random color. I'm just gonna write gen because the word generator was not fitting in there. And then this one is a random letter. See, because my TBR is smaller than other TBRs out there, not that size matters, but because mine is smaller, something like a random letter generator is going to be harder for me compared to randomizing my entire TBR. Because if I do a letter generator, there is a very high chance I get a letter that is something that is not on my TBR. But yeah, sad face, no me gusta. So number 5 is randomize your entire TBR. There we go. I don't think I can fit the whole thing in there, so I'm like, there we go. Randomize TBR, done. So we've got number 7, someone else picks. So friend or spouse pick, poll pick, or librarian pick. What if your friend is a librarian? I'm just out here trying to find loopholes before I've even started. Like, I know this is not in the spirit of things. I'm just like being devil's advocate here. So yeah, it'll be a random number generator from 1 to 14 kind of a thing. Friend or spouse pick? Friend. Spouse pick. Then we have a poll pick. Which the nice part about poll picks I always find is like you tell people what's on the poll anyway. So whereas your friend or spouse pick, that one could be a little bit more like depending on how you set it up. It's like if you give them 2 options and say like which one should I do, versus like, hey, what should I read? Just like in general, like possibly a little bit varied. And then librarian pick. And there we go. Scooting on up to the top though, book in a series. So start a series, continue a series, or complete the series. Nice. Start a series. Continue a series. Can I spell continue? No. I read the best series yesterday, guys. So, okay, you know how I said I haven't finished any books this month? That is a total lie. I finished 3 books this month, but they were kids' books. But excellent kids' books and ones that I totally recommend everybody read. Do I remember the title of them? No. I'm pretty sure it's I Want My Hat Back is the first one. Or it's I Want My Hat. Now I need to go look it up because it's just a good book. I Want My Hat Back. Quality literature, would recommend. I made Deb read it because it was really good, and I made Monica read it because it was really good. And it's only like 20 pages long, so you should read it too. It's probably one of my favorite kids' books, along with The Very Hungry Caterpillar and Dogger. Dogger is a great book. Quality. quality book. Number 5 is complete a series. Complete a series. And I guess, like, to your question, what if I don't read series? I mean, if you pull an 8 and get a book in a series, you could just read the first book in a series and then get 1 point for it, kind of a thing, I suppose. Oh, I need somewhere to, like, tally my points. I guess I'm gonna kind of do that when I write out, like, the things that I've been reading for the reading challenge. So, okay, we'll be alright. I'll put that on this page. Yeah. Excellent kids books are really good for adults too. I know, right? It's just, it's a really great one. I didn't realize it had more in the series, so I can't remember what the title of the other 2 was, but I Want My Hat Back is the first one. And then in the second one, there's, like, another hat incident, and then in the third one, there's another hat incident. They're all about hats. It's great. It just makes me happy. So this one, on the cover, we have an object, a person, or a building. Object, person, building. On the cover. On the cover. Oh, this is gonna look so cute. I'm so happy about it. On the cover. Now, as I've gone and put the headers in, though, and I say now as if it didn't happen like 15 minutes ago, but we can flip back just to check, like, because I've used serif lettering here versus not serif lettering, I feel like that's possibly why it looks a little bit different, but it doesn't really matter. I think that, okay, in terms of books that count, I'm pretty sure that Mating with Mallows wouldn't count. I don't know how many pages it is, but I don't think it's very many. So you can't read Mating with Mallows for this reading challenge, and I think that's okay. So, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, you worked in libraries for 15 years. There we go. Librarian Deb, please give recommendation. I haven't picked the card yet, though, so you can't give me one. Okay, something that I really want to do for this is actually draw it with a physical deck of cards, because I just think it would be kind of, like, tactile fun, So I'm going to have to go and hunt down a deck of cards. I know that I have some in this house somewhere. But anyways, Goodreads ratings. So we have high rating, over 4, lower rating, under 3.5, or less than 1,000 ratings. Okay, so rating. I should have written average rating, but I didn't. Over 4.0. Rating over. Nope, it's supposed to be under. You can read. I can't read. But guess what? This is why we have sticker paper. So it's fine. It doesn't even matter. Now, we just need to find a strip that is going to fit nicely. And we're going to use probably the same one from before. So here we just take the, what do we call this? The gutter from the sticker paper, and we just stick it over the top of the mistake. Like so. Ha ha ha. How will they know? If you actually stick it down, they probably won't know. But if you don't stick it down and you smudge your ink, they might know. I just want to cut this off. Like so. There we go. Beautiful. Haha, no harm, no foul. Rating under. There we go. That's much better. And I also intentionally made the sticker paper pretty much as long as the word here, so that then I didn't have to kind of, like, half have the word on the sticker paper and half off, because your pen kind of doesn't often do as nicely when you have to write a word half on, half off. Let's see. Wait, how did I end up volunteering to recommend a Jess? It's fine. I don't have to ask you. I mean, technically, if I pull that card, I don't even have to pick 5 points anyway. Like, I can't just pick 3, but it's cool. So rating under 3.5, and then less than 1,000 ratings. Cute. Alrighty, in the title. Whew. I also feel like I need to scroll over a bit, but I'm as far over as I can go. No, it's so far away. It's really not that bad. So there's a name in the title, there's a number in the title, or a color in the title. Oof. Name, number. Maybe I'll pick up the 4-hour work week again. Color. I think that for me, numbers in the title are probably easier. I'm thinking like 5-second rule, 4-hour work week, like those kind of things. But they're all like, self-help kind of that kind of genre, which is kind of what I like to read, along with other things as well. But name in the title. Number in the title. And color in the title. I'm trying to think of something that I've read recently that has a color in the title. The first color that comes to mind is like red or black, which I don't know, feels like that would be in titles more often. Do I have anything in here that had a color in the title? No, 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 no. Oh dear. Well, color might be a little bit tricky, but I guess, again, I don't have to pick that one, so it's all good. Yay for an easy challenge. Let's see. At least they didn't make the challenge the challenge would be picking which of the 100,000 books with the and the. Yeah, there's quite a few, isn't there? Tink. I like this kind of. It's restrictive, but it still feels like not so restrictive that it's not going to be fun, if that kind of makes sense. What do we say? Audio, ebook, physical. Audio, book, ebook, book. I'm not going to write ebook, book, don't worry. And physical book. And the only reason that I decided to write book on the end of these is so that it didn't look really super small compared to the rest of the stuff in here. Because, like, even though this one is specific spans of time, I feel like it takes up a little bit more space than the other ones would have. And then genres. So your favorite, host favorite, or a rarely read. Favorite genre. Host's favorite. Favorite genre. And then a rarely read genre. We need to finish that word. Finish the word. I almost just didn't include the Y. Rarely read genre. Nice. And then the host pick. Okay, what do I want to write for that? Because I feel like it would be nice to have 3 lines of something here. Maybe I'll just put like a bit of an explanation. So I'll go and see if there's some kind of explanation on the. There we go. Yep. Yep. So this one has a little explanation which just says, like, go to Chloe or Becca's last drawer and use their prompt. And I'm just going to write that in the bottom here. Go to. I'm going to write Becca or Chloe because Becca's who I found out about the reader prompt from, so it makes sense in my mind. Like, there you go. Becca or Chloe. I need to make sure I spell Chloe right, otherwise that'd be rude. Chloe's last drawer. Or the prompt. That fits nicely. Hee. Yeah, I'm really putting the rules to the test. I know, right? I'm just out here to, like, fudge the rules wherever possible so that I can make my life easier. That is not actually the intention. It's just me being a dick. So now as we've got those in, that's looking pretty cute. We still need to print the little covers. We need to do a header. We need to do a little piece down the side here, which means I'm going to need to get some decoration. So I'll be back in a second. I need to go find some. Alrighty, I have acquired a stack of tapes, so we're going to use this, which will be good. I'm also going to need a header for this one, and normally when I do my headers, I like to use these tickets, but this ticket is not going to fit in this top section here, so I might have to put the ticket there. I also need to decide what color ticket I want to use, so I might go grab all of the tickets. That's probably a good idea. So... I just think that they're a little bit cute. I like that they have the little box. Yeah, we're stress testing it for the host before it even starts. So I'm not sure which one I want. I like to use one of these ones though because they've got the little boxes around the outside, which I think are pretty cute. These ones are just from Stationery Pal or something like that. I think it was Stationery Pal. I'm pretty sure I've got it linked in the description box. I tried to kind of like predict what materials I was going to use and link them down there for you. So if you're looking for something in particular, that's a good place to start. Down the bottom here, I'm going to want something to stick in. I was thinking I could probably go through this piece of tape and pull out an element or something. You can see that I cut out individual pieces from here so that I can stick them onto the page and such, because some of them I like more than others. So there's something I could probably find to stick down there. I just need to figure out what it is. And because I keep pretty much everything in this journal outside of cover pictures in this kind of like brown, beige, sometimes a subdued pink kind of tone, that's why when I go and do these little cards that I'm printing out, I want to try and make it so that they are kind of similar in terms of their coloration, which might mean that I either print off like the black suits in black or see if I can color edit them to make it a dark brown, or I do that in just regular black and then do the red in like a kind of like more golden kind of tone brown in terms of like not too dark so it doesn't kind of blend with the ones that we've already got. But anywho, so we're going to want to pick a tape for the top here, and I'm thinking that I might just use my map washi because it's easy mode, which really just means ripping off an edge of this and sticking it along the top, which is kind of nice. I do have a break in the tape here though, so I might do that part, and I might even blend it over to the other side of the page as well, so that then I have a little bit going over there. I could go the whole way across. That'd be easy. Am I thinking about this too much? You betcha. So I'm going to rip. We're just ignoring the fact that it's already stuck to the page, but along this line, but not perfectly along the line, because I don't want it to be too straight, because otherwise it just looks a little bit boring. And we're going to stick that on the top of the page here in such a way, well, making a mess much, in such a way that we're not kind of encroaching too much on the text portion. So possibly like that. There's that break in the tape, though I don't want the break in the tape. That looks cute. And I'm kind of using the line on the tape itself to help me get this relatively straight. And this guy is now all torn up and sad about stuff. Go think about what you've done. Away from me, please. Stay there. Okay. So we're going to need even more if we're going the whole way across. At least the nice part is that on the other side, I don't need to be quite as particular about making sure that it's not encroaching too far down, because I can just stick stuff over the top of it if I want to. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to like backwards roll this on itself and then fix it when I'm done with this tape at the top. Cute. That looks pretty good. Usually I would do this in a more methodical manner, but I'm being a little bit ruckus today. It's a Monday, at least for me. So, there we go. I just imagined your non-pen palette is a sad beige bomb dream journal. Probably. I mean, I really enjoy it. I think that the thing that I have with it is that if I tried to do a kind of more colorful setup or whatnot, it means that it would make my book pages stand out less, and also it would make them clash more, I feel. By going with a palette that's a little bit more subdued in terms of the decorative elements, it means that when I do stick the book pages down, they kind of pop a little bit more, I feel. So I quite like it. I know that it's not for everybody. Like, if I was just using this in my everyday journal, I'd probably get kind of bored of it, but I quite like it for my reading journal. So we're going to cut off this extra tape, which I could probably have not ripped straight through the middle of the tape. I probably could have done a bit better of a job to like measure it up and stuff. But I have this is my first roll of this tape, and I have 3 more or something silly like that, because every time I do a purchase from Journal Sale Stationery Pal, because that's where I get them from, I just buy another one because I'm like, oh, I'm going to use it eventually, just completely forgetting that I have not even used the first one up. Like, do I really need that much? No, but yeah, it is what it is. So I'm going to just cut along the top here to tidy the page up a little bit. Trying to make it so that the scissors do the glidey thing, so I don't have to mess around with fussy cutting things. When you get to the middle, though, it's a little bit harder, so do this as gently as we can, making sure not to cut off your bookmark ribbon, because that is not the business. That's not a fun time. These scissors are, well, I have 2 pairs of scissors. One of them is this one, which is great, and then the other one is like an older pair that is okay at best. These ones are definitely my favorite. I love them a lot. That one is not perfectly cut, but it's fine. We can tidy that up later. Future me problem. So we need to trim off the corners, make sure that it's nice and neat. I might get my corner rounder out to do that because it's just a little easier. So this is a corner punch from Creative Memories. You just put the paper into the corner and then press down and it cuts through. You have to be careful though, because sometimes you have stuff in there when you don't clean it, which means that it makes like the cutting of it a little bit harder, but most of the time it does a pretty good job. I quite like it. There we go. Beautiful. Love that. So now, as we have some tape along the top to just kind of like set the stage, I suppose, then we can start thinking about doing like layering of tapes and stuff like that. I find that I like to do little kind of like layering collage-y kind of bits and pieces, just like stick some interest onto the page, just so that then it doesn't look so kind of like flat, I suppose. I want to put in a label, and for the label, I think I'll go with the brown, maybe? Deck of TBR-a-thon. How much space do I need? Deck of... I might do this one. So, deck of... I feel like this needs to go here. TBR-a-thon. Cute. So when I stick these ones in, I just do double-sided tape kind of a thing, because they're not stickers, they're just little pieces of paper. But I also like to trim the edges down, just because I think it looks a little bit nicer with a slightly smaller edge. I still leave the edge that's printed onto the little ticket, but just make it a little thinner. Around the outside, around the outside. The nice part about this also is that, like, if you stuff up your header, like if your lettering doesn't turn out the way you want to, or you haven't centered it correctly, or anything like that, because it's not written into your journal, you don't really need to do like a mistake fix. You just do another ticket, which is quite convenient. So we are going to need some tape. We are going to also need some more tape, I suppose, because I'm going to need to... Oh, I have so many tape rolls in here. I'm like, one of you is started, the other one is not. Which one is started? I do not know. I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm going to use both of them anyway, but I just got new tape yesterday, so I want to try and make sure I'm using the one that has already been used. But I don't know which one I've used. Can I tell from this? No, because you work too well. I'm going to say that it's this one that I've used, though, because it looks like it's less flat on the end. Make sure that the ink is dry. So I think I'll stick this here. Before I stick it in, though, I'm going to go and get my other little piece of paper so that I know where that's going in. Otherwise, I might not have space for it, and then that would be lame. And also, I'd like to stick them in a certain order. Now, the real question is, where did I put it? It's probably in my papers drawer, but I have a lot of papers nowadays. Oh dear. Oh no. Are you in here, friend? No, those are brown paper bags. I am in desperate need of doing a clean out of my set of drawers here because I just cannot find stuff. I had tried to have a system where it was like, okay, all of your papers go in this space kind of thing. And then I got more papers. And now I'm like, okay, I don't actually have space in that space. So I need to let it bleed over into other spaces. So I have two of these. One of them is used. One of them is not. This is not used. I don't know where the used one is. So we're just going to use this one. It's all good. As is life. So this one here, this came from the Archer and Olive subscription box in September of last year. And that was like a vintage library theme. So it has these kind of like little library tickets. I pretty much only ever use the beige one because I use it in my reading journal where everything is kind of beige. I guess you could say this is kind of more like ivory, but hopefully you can kind of see the difference in color here compared to this one, which is effectively the white of the journal. I just like it, in this journal at least, to be this kind of color. They also have a pink tone one at the back, but that's not really the color palette that I use for this journal either. So yeah. Can I please share the link to the readathon? Yeah, sure, if I can find it. I know that Deb had it before, but I think I need to go back to Becca's page and find it because I don't have it saved. Saved. There we go. That should come through in a second. Yes. So I'm going to use one of my little beige papers. Cute. I also like to round off the top as well. So we're going to use the rounder for that. But I also know that I might not need every single line on this page because I don't think that there's going to be that much to write down. So I'm going to write the rules on here first, then trim it down, then stick it in, rather than stick it in and then write, because I don't think I'm going to need that much space. So, general rules. I feel like I don't want to share the full FAQ document, but at least then you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So we're going to go back to presenter mode and show you what I'm looking at. Do your journals ever get really fat with all the things you tuck in? Mine is struggling to close nicely. This one is definitely getting a little bit chonk, but I also, because I don't really take it out of the house, it's not really like the biggest of deals. So it's not so much of a struggle for me, I suppose. But I do not like it when my everyday journal gets too chunky, because then I just find it kind of hard to use, I guess. So here we have the TBR important info, which is given to people who sign up, which is nice. So you can have it as your own kind of reference. So read books to score points for your team. The team with the most points at the end of the readathon will win a special prize. Yay! Pick a book for both hosts to read and vlog the next month. Yep, cool. Sounds good. Let's see. There are two teams, red team and black team. That is who I am, teamed with, because I am more of a mood reader than I am a TBR person. Let's say rules. Choose a prompt for the book based on the deck of cards. Draw a card, refer to the prompt graphic. Color also does not matter, just the number. Nice. We like that. So it's really just figuring out which ones I want to write down. So color also doesn't matter. Pick the difficulty of the prompt, earning your team 1, 3, or 5 points. Most prompts are self-explanatory. If you can make a book fit the prompt, go for it. Nice. Hosts will post shorts every time they pick a new book. If you get an ace, refer back to their latest short and use the prompt. If you would like to pre-select your books for the month, simply draw however many cards you want at the beginning of the month and choose your books. Nice. And then you read them all before the month's over. you just keep going. So they also have some reading sprints and kickoffs and stuff like that. So that's kind of exciting. And then these are kind of where I think the majority of the rules are. But we'll go back to the start. We'll try and write down some that are from here, just so that then it's like using this as best as possible. I want to figure out how to write my header on here though. So I'm going to go back and check my previous ones. So this one is book club rules and then rule and description. So we're going to do that, I guess. So this is probably going to write off of the journal because it'll be a little easier. Read a thon rules. And this is the rule. And this is the description. And then for the actual writing in that, I think I just used my regular writing as opposed to like my bullet journal writing or my, I don't know, header writing or anything like that. So, rule number 1. Read books to score points. 2, pick your team. Red v black. It doesn't need to be like super in-depth versions of them. I'm like okay with this. So I'm going to possibly maybe put like a little kind of side panel in here that describes what the teams are or something, but that could be something that's outside of the rules, so that's fine. So pick books by drawing cards or something like that. I don't know. Choose a prompt for the book based on a deck of cards. Draw a card. Yeah. So 3. Pick books from drawn cards. By drawing cards. Cute. Good morning, Denise. Such a pleasure to have you with us. Let's see. Pick the difficulty of the prompt. I suppose. Like, yeah, card or suit does not matter. I'm going to put that one in because that one I feel like is card, color, suit. Suit? How do you spell suit? Suit? I think I'm thinking sweet, and that's why I'm getting confused with myself. I can find it. Like, there we go. Just a T. Doesn't matter. Cute. And then number 5. They've had a Lego flight attendant voice. Yeah. Let's see. Pick the difficulty to earn your team points. Okay, so I guess it's gonna say like harder prompts equals more points. I like the tiered system. I think it's kind of fun. Let's see. And also, tink. There we go. Let's see. We've got most problems are self-explanatory. The ace one is fine. Like that's already kind of in the breakdown of the stuff. So I guess we're going to move on to the reminders. So any book counts if it has a listing on Goodreads, just no individual short stories, 50-page minimum. So 6. I'm just going to say like counts if on Goodreads, which I always want to give a capital R, but it doesn't have a capital R. 750 pages per book minimum. We have, you can draw your first card on July 31st to pick your first read, but please start reading on August 1st. I like that. That's good. You can kind of decide the day before, which is kind of nice. So reading starts August 1st. 9 is that audiobooks count. 10 is that, that one doesn't have as flicky a side piece. There we go, that's better. So manga and graphic novels count. That's good to know, because I have a few of those that I'd like to read. And rereads count. I'm not going to include that rule just because I don't think I will do any rereads, so it doesn't really bother to me. DNFs count, but you have to read 50% for it to count for points. DNF, so like did not finish. S, DNFs count. If you read 50%. Which feels kind of like, okay, if you were really trying to cheat the system here, you would just pick a whole bunch of books that were longer than 50 pages and read them to 50%, which is not in the spirit of things. So don't do that. But like if you're trying to be a complete cheater, then technically, based on the rules, I think that technically counts. If it's like you have to read at least 50 pages per book, then you'd have to read like 50% of a book that has 100 pages. But again, like that seems like a really sad way to read, so don't do that. Logbooks as you go. Winning team will be calculated by taking total number of points. So total number of points divided by the number of participants. That makes sense. So winning team chosen, selected, chosen by average. Cute. That looks good. Alrighty, I think that's enough rules, which means that I don't need the last line of this, which means I can cut that part off. What challenge is that? How to join? Great question. So this one is a little TBR-a-thon, deck of TBR-a-thon, hosted by Becca Books and Bujo and Chloe, who's from Always Booked. It looks like a lot of fun. It's happening in August, and everybody should join in. Everybody should come and have a great time with it. So I've flicked through a video which explains it, and in that there's a link in the description which you can use to sign up to be part of it. Be in the room where it happens, so to speak. You get to pick which team you're in. So if you want to be in Team Black or Team Red, I'm in Team Black because I am more of a mood reader than I am a TBR maker. But that's kind of how you select which team you want to be in, as to whether like you typically make TBRs for the month or if you just go with your feeling and read whatever it is you want, which is more my style. So we're going to put this in here. Click, and we'll put one down here. Click, that looks cute. So then these rules can sit here, and then I figure that our little ticket that we've made can kind of sit on top of it, so that then we have the rules on the side and the little header kind of still sits on top of that. Nice and easy mode. But I think I want to do a little bit of collage work that goes underneath of this first. So I'm going to probably sit it here. That looks good. We're just going to put a little arrow here for myself. And that means that it's going to be roughly there. So I know where I need to collage. So I'm going to go and get some of my tapes out and just pick a couple of bits and pieces that I can stick around the place. Like I can do one of these like little tickety things and stick that in. This one's kind of more green tone, so I'd probably be more inclined to use one like this. So we can cut that one off. Get out of here. What are you doing? Stop sticking, even though that's literally the purpose of you, but it's fine. So that one can be a piece of background imagery. I'll just roll this one up and put it in the middle of the tape so that it's safe. Because it's very rare that I do a collage that I'm actually able to stick this onto white paper, so that'll be kind of nice. So it'll show up a little bit better. So this can kind of go behind like this kind of a thing. Stick it like roughly there-ish kind of a thing. Maybe a little higher. We can put that there. I am slowly getting more comfortable with collaging, but I'm still not what I would consider to be like good at it. And then I can put like a little thing here that describes red team versus black team. That looks kind of cute. I'm just going to stick this in before I lose my place. Trying to keep my eye on this dot because that's where I want this thing to line up. Try and keep it roughly straight-ish. There you go. Cute. Okay, a question. Where did I buy that washi tape? Which tape? This one or... Most of the tapes that I have purchased, I've linked in the description box, and most of them are either from Stationery Pal or Journal Say, with many more of them coming from Journal Say. So I would recommend hitting up there. And of course, we have a discount code for that, which I think is also linked in the description box, just to make it nice and easy mode. So let's see. We have... This guy will sit here, looking cute. We've got a little like ticket overhang here. That one will go there. And then we'll do a couple more pieces. I'm going to want something that sticks along the top because I always like it to look like I've stuck it into the journal. Kind of similar to... Which way do I go? This one with a little piece of tape at the top. So I'm going to do something similar to that. And then... I also like to stick down the corners of these ones. So I probably don't need too much more. Maybe just a little something up the top here. I'm going to go with... And again, I'm just like pulling from the little stash that I've got on the side here. So this one's usually pretty good. This one just has little stamp-esque looking things. So I just kind of cut around them because I don't like the white space showing up on them. Because I'll just stick that over the top and it just gives a little bit of visual interest that... Because it's transparent, it doesn't stand out too much, which is fine. It's just something to break up the sameness, I suppose, of the map tape color palette. And it's all good if it blends. Let's see. Put this guy here. Looks pretty cute. Sweet. And like it's a little bit more yellow than I'd probably like, but it doesn't bother me so much. This guy we're going to stick down now because I don't think I want to put too much around the outside of that. Make sure I use my tape roller the right way around, otherwise that would be sad. So this one I would usually stick in with a double-sided tape that isn't from the tape roller, just because it's a nice big piece that's roughly square-sized. I tend to use my tape roller for things that are a little bit more small, fiddly, something like that. But it's here. It's easy. I like it. Going. We'll just do a couple in the middle as well so that it's nicely stuck down. So hopefully you can kind of see where the adhesive is based on... can we catch the light? There you go, that shininess. So I decided it was going down on this line. There. Don't stick on top of that. Cleo. The condensation. So... yeah. Gorge. Love it. Now, this little cheeky ticket is going to go here. But before we put the cheeky ticket in, I am going to close my scissors so I don't do myself an injury. Oh my gosh. And maybe just stick in the little header piece that I want up the top. So for those ones, I am using this grid washi tape, which I love. I'm going to be Teen Devastation when I run out of this one because I really do like it quite a lot. I don't like to use the full width of the tape, mainly because it just looks like it's a little too much. So I'm going to go and trim some of that down. We're going to do about yay much if we can. These are my scissors that I don't like as much. And we're going to do roughly that size. That looks right. It feels right. And we'll stick that along the top in the middle. Use the line to line up. Cute. Sweet. So now it kind of looks like it's stuck into the journal, but it looks like it's stuck in with the little piece of tape. No, Cleo! I'm glad that you get it. Vogel and I say that a lot. But this guy can sit in the corner looking cute, and then we'll do some little strips along either side that kind of look like fasteners. It looks like it holds it into the journal, even though it's technically stuck down with the double-sided tape anyway. It's not like a necessary detail, but I think it's just really cute. And I think that's the thing that I like about my reading journal is that it's just an opportunity to be a little bit more scrapbooky and a little bit more, I'm going to say intricate, but it doesn't feel intricate when you're setting it up because that's not really what's happening when you're going and putting this kind of decoration in. It has intentional detail work and it feels special because of it. So I just need to go check to see how long, or rather how wide I make those, because I use different ones based on which journal I'm using. So here you can see that this is like the width of the full tape, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the width of the full tape, and it goes across one of the lines. So this will just be that. Looks a little thick though, but it's fine. I'll just trim it down if I want to. Cute. Cut two of those and stick one on either side. I haven't done one on this one. Okay, well now as I'm here, might just stick those in here. So that then I have them on this page. Ah, gosh, that is not in the right spot. Come on, tweezers. Let's just help myself out here. Make it a little easier for myself. Before getting tweezers, I thought that they were quite unnecessary. I still think that they're technically unnecessary, but they make it so much easier. Yeah. I won't stab myself with the scissors. I'm being very careful. Ish. I'm very, very-ish careful. But before getting tweezers, didn't really think I needed them. But now as I have them, they are very handy. I'm going to put these in these corners. Deciding which corner things go in really just comes from like personal preference more than anything else. I just like it when they don't encroach on other decorative pieces, and I feel like if I put the brown tape in this corner down the bottom, it's going to be too close to the brown tape that I have here. I mean, it's still fairly close when I put it in this corner, but there's a little bit more separation. So I think that it looks a little bit better. Yeah. Alrighty. So now as we've got that in, looking very cute, I feel like I want to do another piece of layering here with something, just because that section is looking a little bit bald. We'll wrap this tape up first though, so that then it's not flaying about the place. Ugh, what a menace. And I've just stuck that little extra piece that we cut off onto the tape there, so it's still safe. And we can secure that down with the little piece of tape that comes from the roll, which is getting a little old, and I'll probably have to replace it because it's losing a lot of its sticking power to actually hold the roll together. But put that one here. So in terms of layering something else here, what else do I have that I could use? Yeah, tweezers they're actually quite good. I've been surprised by how much I use them. There we go. English. I can do words. So we do have little bits and pieces on here that we could cut out and stick in there, but I'm not sure if I feel like doing that because I don't usually use the text kind of space, and I think it's quite interesting that on the typewriter they're writing network and password That's a little interesting. Um, put the tape, little guy. I'm just gonna cut him out and have a look at him because I don't really want the piece of paper that's at the top of that because it has text on it. I'm gonna cut it out just so that it's not on the roll anymore. But the text on here isn't something. It says, well, before long, the cat was seized by another fit of longing. Yeah, I don't need anything about a cat in here, so I'm just gonna cut that off. We can get rid of this one. Like, I could cut out the 9 and stick the 9 in. That's kind of cute. Oh, maybe. Okay, you stay there. I'll see if I can cut this 9 out. I could cut out the 5-cent thing. I don't really need the 5-cent thing, though. I'm just gonna loosely cut around this because I think that this piece can kind of go in the bin. What days do you normally go live? This day. This is my live day. So I go live at the same time every week. So whatever your current time is, if you're watching live, of course, minus an hour and 46 minutes. That's my typical live streaming time. You know, dependent on daylight savings and whether it's changed for you versus for me versus at all of that kind of a thing. But this is how I start my week with a fun time with some good folks doing some journaling stuff. I've been very eager to get into my reading journal recently, and I've been feeling like this odd thing, like I can't justify spending time in there. This sounds silly, but because I have other things on the go, notably, like, you know, doing things in my everyday journal or doing videos for the channel in terms of like making a whole bunch of B5 layouts, which took me such a long time, but I did it. Because I have all of these other little bits and pieces that I'm working on going on, I feel like it's not that I don't have the time to do my reading journal, but I almost feel guilty when I go to work in it. That's not necessarily correct either, but it's the kind of the closest description that I can get to it. And it's the kind of thing like I enjoy doing my reading journal and I would like to make more time for doing my reading journal. It's just actually allowing myself to do it, I suppose. I also find that often when I'm doing my reading journal, I almost get a little guilty, like, you know, what would be great is actually going and doing some reading. So you have things to put in your reading journal. And I'm just like, Inner Jess, why are you doing this to me? Why are you trying to make me feel bad? I just want to be happy and do my reading journal and just let that be the end of it. But no, Inner Jess is not letting that happen. She's being like, no, you have things to do. You have better ways to spend your time. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like, it feels unproductive. It's like, I'm allowed to have time that's unproductive. I just need to let Inner Jess figure that out for herself because she's not doing a great job of keeping that in mind. I think that one of the things that I want to focus on more in what's the month that's coming up? August. Ha ha ha. And I think that maybe this little reading challenge will help with that, is being a little bit more intentional about my leisure time. That is crooked. We're not sticking that in like that. That is awful. How dare we? This is not getting better. Okay, I need to figure out how to stick this in a way that doesn't look silly. I think I'll put you here-ish. But yeah, trying to be a little bit better about taking the time I need to have leisure time, I suppose. I'm gonna stick that in there. I don't know if I like it because I don't like the white outlined area, but I also don't really want to fussy cut around it. But now I'm also tempted to try and fussy cut around it, so haha, let's do it anyways. Where is my knife? Craft knife, just for clarification. Yeah, I know, right? Dear Inner Jess, please have some chill. You are allowed to have downtime. It is okay to take time to just do things you enjoy. But yeah, I have to keep learning that, it seems. So I am kind of hoping for August to make, I'm going to say, like, self-care a priority. And I mean self-care in the sense of just letting myself have the time that I need to have time off in a way. because I'm not usually very good at that. And I found recently, especially with increasing my video content again, because we're back to doing 2 videos a week at the moment, which I don't get me wrong, I'm very excited about. I like the fact that we're doing 2 videos a week. But I kind of not so much forgot, but maybe neglected to dwell a little bit more on the fact that with more videos that you're putting out comes more administrative time to do them. So, like, the idea generation, the filming, the editing, yada, 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 which means that the amount of time that I have in the week to do other things like leisure activities goes down because of that. Like, no shit, of course, it was going to do that. But I need to be maybe a little bit more mindful about the fact that my time is going to be influenced by that increase in output. It is what it is. But this is looking cute. I'm going to write a little blurb down here that just describes being on Team Black in particular. And then this section at the bottom is where I'm going to describe the books that I end up reading. So I can be like, what's the prompt? Or like, what card did I pull? What point number did I decide on? And then which book did I read? Because I don't think I'm going to need more than this. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 8 lines? Yeah, that feels right. If I need more space, I'll put more space in. I don't know. I'm going to put a little blurb here for Team Black. Alrighty. Oh, no, we're going to write that in brown because we did little headers on here. So, Team Black. So this is by people who like to mood read. Doesn't being intentional with leisure time nullify the point of it? No, I would disagree. Mainly because if I have given myself time on my calendar or time in my schedule to have leisure time, when I say I want to use it intentionally, it means that I don't want to just sit here and scroll on my phone or, sit here and potter on my computer and not really kind of go in with a plan or an intention for how I use that time. Because if I don't decide ahead of time how I will use my leisure time, either the leisure time doesn't happen or it's not restorative. So that would be like, for instance, last night Vogel came to me and he said, "Hey, do you want to play the Quarry tonight? Like, we can spend some time together and play that." And that to me is more intentional than me just saying like, "I'm going to have time off," and then sitting there and just not really doing anything that makes me feel rested. That one is like, we went into that time spent together with the plan of what we were kind of going to do, which was just playing a game, but that plan made it more intentional. Does that kind of make sense? Otherwise, yeah, I just default to not really honoring that time because it doesn't have a specific activity tied to it, or I just kind of go to the lowest common denominator of easy mode kind of things to do, which is just scrolling through, looking at Instagram reels, which doesn't actually fill me with the joy and the rest that I kind of need. Yeah. So hello, everyone, and that means hello, Monica. Yay! Glad that you could be here, even if only for a small amount. It's a pleasure to see you. So, let's see. For Team Black, I'm going to go... Oh, hit the microphone. That was a bit rude. I'm going to go and look at the specific description as given by the official document. There we go. So, as it says here, Team Red is for those who make a TBR, no matter how big or small. Team Black is for mood readers. Is for mood readers. And then it says, like me. Hee hee hee. Done. Cute. You're just updating your reading journal? Nice. Which is a Google Sheet? Also nice. I have the most beautiful, and by that I mean ugly, reading journal document. See if I can find it for you. It doesn't even have a proper name. It's literally just called Core Pile because I only made it so that I had something to keep track of stuff. Let's see. This is my very gorgeous, very ugly sheet. It's just, what did I read? And obviously I wasn't planning on keeping it for very long because this isn't even a full title. So it's just got a list of what is it that I've read, when did I finish it, and then the rating for each of these, it has the average of those ratings, and then how I assign it to Goodreads, because Goodreads doesn't do half stars. So obviously, like this one that's 2.5, like how do I scale that? In a Goodreads, I round up, so it's a 3. But then for my personal rating, then it's like gets to be an actual average. So and a kind of an average. It gets to get rounded to a half mark rather than a full mark. But yeah, that's how I do mine. But because I didn't want to have to try and like calculate what the Goodreads score was each time, I just put it into this sheet instead. So for instance, like things that have a what anything higher than a 4.5 gets a 5-star on Goodreads, but you can see that these two here, for instance, like in my rating scale, they still have a 4.5 because I like to use half marks. But there we go. Yeah, just makes it a little bit easier to do the calculation, so I don't actually have to calculate it for myself every single time. Tee. So put that away though. Don't need to use that right now. I need to figure out what I want to do down the bottom here, and I think it's just going to be a simple book log. But now I'm thinking like, what if I read more than that many books? No! This is why we go in with a plan. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I think I need a drink. Tink. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? No. It's not so bad. I do know that I want to do some more collaging up here so that we don't just have like a blank looking, not a lot of stuff. Just add a tip in. That's a good idea. We could add a tip in. Then we just put that in the middle as like a thing. The only thing that I have with tip ins right now is that because my journal is getting lechonk, I was kind of thinking that I want to finish the year out in this journal. So I was kind of planning on not putting tip-ins in and really just trying to use up the space. Like I have a decent chunk of this journal left, and I guess in theory I could use it for another year, but I was thinking that for the next year I want to maybe change up the styling. I haven't really decided. I was just thinking that like new year, new journal would be kind of nice, even though I don't necessarily read enough to warrant having it as a new journal every year. I don't know. It's tricky because I know that this isn't just a reading journal as well. It has like other stuff in here, but that is also, funnily enough, a future me problem. What are we going to do about these books, though? I think that maybe I could just put, because if we think about how I've got it done for my book club, say, if we scroll, flick, turn, whichever, back to here. So for our book club, I have 2 separate pages. I have the reads, which is like the little cover images, and then I've got the rules. And then on the next page over, this is still the book club. It's just on the next page over. So I think that I might do something similar. I could have like the official list of the books, and then I could do like a little kind of covers printout or something and have them as part of a little shelf. That'd be kind of cute. I don't need a game board because we have the guys here. God, it's going to be so cute. I'm so looking forward to it once I get to print out the little covers. So possibly I might... Okay, so in my thinking, the reason why I wasn't going to specify what rules I had used or like rewrite the rules is because they were right here. Yeah. So I was like, there's not a lot of point in saying like, oh, I picked this book because it is the continuation of a series, because I could just say like, I drew a 8. I used 3 points and then I can just reference it there. So I was kind of thinking about that. But if I flip over, then I feel like I would want to write that down. I don't know if I need to, though. It doesn't seem particularly necessary. No. All good, Becca. Thank you for hosting this readathon. I'm really excited about it. But thanks for joining us while you could be here. I think I'm going to put it here, and I think I'll do like a little kind of like shrine. I mean, we could put a bookshelf in. That'd be kind of cute. I do like a good bookshelf layout, but I don't really need to have a full bookshelf for that, especially with as many books as I would normally put in a bookshelf layout, because I don't plan on reading 22, 24 books in 1 month. So maybe what we'll do is we'll put it here. We're going to have the list of the books that I've read here, and then maybe we'll do like a little mini stats breakdown of like, you know, how many times or like how many cards did I pull? Like when did I pull them in the month? Um, you know, which prompts were my favorite or whatever, and that kind of stuff. And then on this side, I can just print out little book covers, and then I can continue on with the actual blurbs. So there's no blurbs on these pages, they'll just go on subsequent pages. I think that'll be kind of cute. So with that in mind, make sure that that's stuck down properly. Actually, you're annoying me, so I'm going to pull you off. We'll just rip that part off. There we go. I'm going to leave you for now because you might end up being a space for additional info if I want. And like all of the people that I've like recruited to doing this, let me know, are you going to do this challenge? Because I would love to have you on board with it. I mean, it's not mine. I just think it'd be fun if we did it together, you know. So maybe I'll just write down a little list of the people who have come over to it because of that. That could be kind of fun. So I'm gonna call them like official recruits. That seems silly, but I like it. There we go. Readathon recruits. You can see I've totally smudged my lettering there, but that's totally okay. It's fine. So, Readathon recruits. So I'm gonna put Monica down, even though she's all like, nah, I decided to do this challenge all by myself, but also like, why not? So we're gonna put that in. So I think that I want to do some little bullet points. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know how many people I'm gonna be able to like fit in here, but I'm gonna try. Let's see. So we have Monica, Shah, and like you were allowed to have decided based on your own prerogative. I'm just putting you on my list because. So we have we have I might need more pages. I know, right? Let's see. You got booted from the live. That's annoying. Let's see. Matisse is going to be in it. A-T-H-I-Z. We've got, let's see. I know that I managed to convince Bronwyn and Deb yesterday, so they're going to go on my list too. Bronwyn and Deb. There we go. Yep. Oh, is Missa in it as well? Okay. I haven't seen her jump into the Discord yet. Has she been in the TBR-a-thon Discord? Because I want to make sure that, like, you know, I'm writing down people who are actually doing it. Let's see. Alrighty, there we go. We're gonna Devon for Team Black job. It'd be good to note how much competition I've also enlisted for for the challenge as well, which is not great. Team Black is for mood readers, yes. Team Black for mood readers. So we've got, let's see, that only takes up 3 centimeters. So I'm gonna do every 3 centimeters. We'll see how many I can recruit. 1, 2, 3, 4. You didn't know about it until now? Yeah, exactly. Okay, Miss is gonna do it and she's gonna do it tonight. Okay, I will put her on. We have. If I've missed you, it's only because I'm really bad at reading, so just let me know again. Karen is in there. Yay. This is my little TBR and recruits, which we love. So technically your TBR is over 200 books. Wow. That's impressive. I think mine is I mean, I consider my TBR to be at the back of this book with all of my little print-offs. So there's probably quite a few. I just haven't added them in. Let's say not sure on your team, but you're thinking you do it. Yay! Alrighty, I'm gonna put you down too. Excellent. Alrighty. So we'll let this dry. Let it dry. Did I put Donnie down? I haven't put Donnie down yet. There we go. Let it dry. Let it dry. I don't think I'll be able to convince Vogel to partake. He doesn't really do readathons, but Maybe. No, I don't think so. Let's see. Read with LP. We could do that one. I need to know what name to write down. Is LP the name? I'm not sure. I need to go check. Because on my end it doesn't show up very nicely in terms of like who people are. Because I'm not when I stream through StreamYard, which is why we have like this little thing down here that says like, hey, it's me. Yeah, Laura. There we go. I'm like, I don't want to write it down wrong. There we go. We've got Laura in here too. Fabulous. Yes. Tanika's in too. Yeah. There we go. Denise is part of the support team. Not actually like in it to win it, but like here to just cheer us on. Like, yay, go team. I'll put you down. Because why not? You can be part of it. You can do 2 readathons at once. I don't see why not. I mean, I don't know. There's no rule in this one that says that you can't use the prompts for another readathon. I think you can't use the same book for multiple prompts because that's not really how it works. But yeah. Okay, this is looking cute. As we get more recruits, I will make sure that I add more people. This is where I'm going to put my list of things that I read, but I don't know how many I'm going to read just yet, so I don't know if I want to, like, just decorate the top of the page and then leave the rest of it open. I think that's probably a good idea. So, in terms of the amount of space that I usually use for decoration, because it would be good if it was kind of in line with the typical. So, I usually have... where's my ruler? Ugh, all of my things falling out. I usually have about 32 spaces that I've utilized for my kind of information filling in. You have to figure out how to get the BBBC book in there. It'll probably be able to fit with something. So 32 is up to about there, which will I need the entire 32? Probably not, but we're just going to make sure that I don't encroach on this space with my decorationings. I want a tape that is not the same as the map tape, so I think I'm going to use this craft tape. I love this craft tape. It's absolutely great. I have several rolls of it as well. I think I've got 2 rolls, so not like too many. But I'm just going to put it along this page rather than both pages, which means I'm going to need about yay much. Just cut off a slice of it. Nice and straight, and that's the nice part about the grid tape is that it has grid on it, so yay. So we're going to put some decoration along here. We're going to try and make sure that we rip it at roughly the right amount so that we don't waste a whole bunch of tape, which means I should probably measure it along here, which means that I need to rip along roughly this edge. Cute. And I like to try and add some variation to where I'm ripping, so it's not like a completely straight ripped line, because I'm like, if I wanted it completely straight, I'd use a ruler or I'd use scissors. The point of this is to have a little bit of variation so that it's got some visual interest to it. So kind of intentionally bringing the rip higher or lower depending on where I'm wanting to position it on the page, if that makes sense. So that looks kind of cute. We can pull this sticker off and stick it along the top nice and carefully. And the good part about measuring it a little bit more carefully is that 1, you waste less tape, and 2, you don't have to try and cut it down and anything. Have you tried decal edge rulers to help you rip washi? I haven't. If I'm ripping washi where I want it to be straight but still textured, I just use a regular ruler, like put this down and kind of a thing. But I haven't actually seen and or heard of deckled edge rulers, which sounds kind of fancy. I'm going to cut this with my sharp one. Where did you get this grid tape from? This grid tape was from, I think they sell it at both Journal Say and Stationery Pal, but I believe that I got this one from Stationery Pal. This one should be linked in the description box. Maybe. If it's not, I'll fix it. Fix it, Felix. There we go. I could use my corner around here, but I'm being difficult, I guess. I just decided to choose the difficult path rather than the easy path. There we go. So this just gives me the base layer, and then we can put things on top of that to, add a little bit more visual interest, or add in a header, that kind of thing. So for this one, when was the last time I used this as a header? That's a good question, because I sometimes like to use previous Jess's work as like a reference to see what else I've done in this kind of style, because I don't often use this one as the header tape. So this one I used it for some just like layering moments. That's a sticker. Let's see if we can go find some stickers. That might be easier. Yeah, it's probably on Amazon as well. You can probably find it in a bunch of places. Stickers and little paper stickers. And that one as well. Oh, and that one too. Okay, we're just bringing all the stickers over. It seems I have all of my stickers in these tiny bags, just so that then they were easier to store. And I just like to find ones that have a little bit of difference in terms of how much, what's the word, like darkness there is, I guess. I like there to be a little bit of contrast, comparing the background of the brown to whatever it is I stick on top of it. So for example, like this one has some very dark tones in it, so I could kind of use that in here. Or I could do something that has a lot of like quite light tones and lift it in that way. My tendency is always to go dark. Do I want a butterfly in here? I guess the question is, does it really matter? I'm going to put that one in. I think that looks good. We can kind of use those for layering, or I can use my tapes, but those ones are a little bit more transparent, you know? Yeah, it's cute little bottles, aren't they? They are cute little bottles. But these ones were all done from Journal Say. I have a video on the channel where I did like what I called this like massive vintage stationery haul, and I just got a bunch of stuff that all looked kind of browns, beiges, aged, that kind of thing, because I wanted to do them in my reading journal, like use them specifically in here. So this one has the little bottles and a little couch, a key. That's quite cute. Not that I want to put it on here, but in general, it's kind of cute. I don't actually need more than what I've got here because I don't want to distract from the header too much. But I think for the header on this one, we might go with the pink, mainly because I tried to make it so that from one page to the next, I don't use the same paper for the header, just so that then I get a little bit of variance. But I also don't want to use the brown one here because it will blend in with that tape a little bit too easily. This is also where I can use the layering to make this, not this one, get out, make this one stand out a little bit better, so that then it's got some kind of like darker sections beneath it and such as well, which is kind of cool. Put that there. I like to try and rip this wherever possible, just to make it so that the edge is not so sharp, I guess. Yeah, slowly building up your vintage collection as well. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that I think that Journal Say in particular for the vintage stuff is really good. Journal Say in general is one that I've really been liking. I just put an order in the other day with some friends, and we are very excited to have all of our bits and pieces arrive. But not yet. Still have to wait. There we go. So this one we will stick in this corner. Just here. There we go. I've kind of kept the back of the tape on so that then I can use the other half somewhere else. Well, I guess it's not technically tape, but let's see. Let's see. Oh, we've got another sign up. Yay! And I'm glad to have you here. Yay for being here for your first live. Always exciting. So we'll put Sam on the list. Here we go. And dry it off. Because I think that the one that I was quite excited for, which is usually in August, is the Magical Readathon. I might be way out of line with that. But that one was one that Monica and Rachel and my mate Scotty, they like to do. So I was looking forward to that. I'm like, okay, I'm really going to commit this year. I'm going to make sure that I can like have the time to do it and all of this kind of thing. And then it got postponed. So I'm like, oh, I was really like amped and looking forward to this readathon in August and whatever. And then this one came out. So I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, there's still a readathon on, and I can do this one instead. So that's nice. At least I have one to partake in. Let's see. You missed it. What's the difference between red and black? So Team Red is for people who like to make a TBR for the month, either long or short, but they effectively say, like, this is what I'm going to read in the month at the start of the month. Whereas people who are in Team Black, they are people who are more like mood readers. So they essentially finish a book and then go, you know what? Vibes are right. I'm just going to read this now. So they don't necessarily like predetermine what they're hoping to read in any month. They just follow where their joy takes them, which is effectively how I like to read. So that is why I am on Team Black. So this one we're going to stick here. And we're going to put maybe this guy. I mean, I could literally just use the same one from before. And then I don't have to use a separate one, which is kind of nice. All right, we'll stick that there. It stuck to my finger. Get off. That looks kind of cute. We'll put that one. So it sits here. And then we'll put that guy there. And I know that I put my pencil line here, but I actually don't really need that much space. So we're just going to put that there. I'm going to write on this before. I don't know. I don't know what I want my header to be. That's a problem. You want to sign up for Team Black, please, and thank you. Excellent. So you are more than welcome to sign up for Team Black. What you need to do, though, because I'm not the one who's running this, you need to head over to the video that I've just linked in the chat. That one is the official introduction post for the readathon, because it is being held by Becca Books and Bujo, and I know what it is, Always Booked by Chloe. Yep. So they are hosting it. You have to sign up through them. I'm just writing down people who I managed to recruit on this page. So if you want me to add you to my list, I will definitely do that. But I can't actually send you any of the like official details or anything like that. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, before the team left show started, you grabbed 3 books you want to read within the next 2 or more months. Yep, that's fair. On the reading block. Love it. Yeah, I love the idea of setting up a TBR because I think that they look very cool. Like, you know, this is my stack and this is what I'm going to read and all that. And I just don't read that way. So let's see. There's a deck of TBR-a-thon, and then I feel like I kind of want this to have a different. Why does the rogue team have to be black? It's because we're ninjas. Like, we're just like sneaking up in here and being like, well, bam, didn't even see it coming. I'm going to read this now. That's at least how I see it, but maybe not. What do I want to have my title as? Because I don't really want it to be the same as it was. Because it's like, this is for the things that I actually read. But, stuff it. We're just going to continue it. It's fine. Deck of TBR a thon. And we're going to let that dry before we stick it in, because otherwise we would smudge it and make it sad. You need a future me reads list. I do have a... That's a future me read. I love that. I do have a list of things that I want to read at the very front of the journal. So this is like my fiction books to read and non-fiction books to read. And I also have a recommendations list of people who have said like, hey, you should read this. And really it's just Monica and Rachel, because I get all of my recommendations from them, which is fine. And then as I read them, I like to rate them as well. So I can be like, okay, how much do I trust you? It's like, even though Rachel recommended The Never King and I only gave it 3 stars, I still read the entire series. Like, it was a bit of fun. I didn't mind it. Dry. No, you're not dry yet. I'm not sticking you in yet. But you will get stuck here, which does mean that I probably want to have a little bit more visual interest out the side here. So I'm thinking maybe I could add some of this in, because it has Like, it's a tan color, but it also has that kind of depth to it in terms of the musical notes being a black. So I'll put that in here. And it kind of blends in, so I don't feel the need to rip the edges of it like I did with the sticker, kind of a thing. Only 2 fiction books. Well, see, this is the thing. Like, I read more fiction than I do nonfiction, but it's very much like vibes based, as opposed to like, I set this down as something that I specifically wanted to read. I'm not very good at actually going back and filling that page in, let's be real, but I get there. I mean, in terms of books that I've read this year, I think that more of them have been fiction than nonfiction. I think. I say I think. I'm pretty sure I know, yeah. Because I find a lot of books that are nonfiction that are topics that I'm interested in, or topics that I want to learn more about, or whatever, and thus I jot them down on the list. Whereas with my fiction books, I just go based on what Monica and Rachel tell me to read, because I trust their opinion most of the time. Most of the time. There we go. That looks cute. Cute. Let's see. Can you recommend me books? You can recommend me books, but it's not to say that I don't like trust other people's recommendations. It's just that I am very aware that I'm kind of picky about what I actually will pick up. So it's like I'm always for people giving recommendations, but I won't necessarily write them on my list unless I have deemed that I have like genuine interest to read them. Like, if Rachel turned around and said like, "Oh, hey, you should read, I don't know, insert book name here," that's just not doesn't sound like something I'd actually find enjoyment in. She doesn't do that very often, but I slash it all. But if she gave me a recommendation where I was just like, this isn't my vibe, then I wouldn't write it on my list. I'm gonna flip these around, but it doesn't mean I'm not open to receiving the recommendation. That kind of makes sense? Yeah. So if you do want to give me a recommendation, you're more than welcome to give me a recommendation. I just might not write it on my list, but please don't feel any kind of like offense from that. It's just because I'm picky. So this is looking cute. It's it's not anything kind of major. It's just a little bit of decoration at the top, and then as I read things, I will add it to this list. Mainly because I don't want to like fill the whole page up and then only read like 3 things. That would be lame. But I would like to keep on here what I read specifically because of this readathon. So what we're going to do is we're going to at least add the header in, so that then I have that there as a reference. And it's going to look kind of like this, but I don't think I'll do date. I will do title. I possibly could do rating, but I probably don't need to. It's not really the point. So I'm going to maybe leave rating off. I'll do title, and I'll do card pulled and like points assigned or something like that. But the reason I flipped back here was so that I could actually check out the format of it to make sure it was similar. So we do black text, ruled line, colored stripes. Okay. Black text, ruled line, colored stripes. So the black text is going to go here. The ruled line is going to go here. There we go. I picked up this pen yesterday specifically so that I could do this stream with you guys, because I wanted to make sure I had the right color, because I don't have any 990s in my collection before yesterday because my last one ran out. Sad face. You just signed up for Black Team? Yay! Alrighty, I'm putting you on my list. Even if you decided it of your own prerogative, you're going on my list. Let's see. If you like to read kids' books, The Summer Book by Tove Jansson? It's Kid Book 5's While Being a Book for Adults. Oh, that's kind of cute. I mean, I don't necessarily like to read kids' books, but it's more so I just very much like that I Want My Hat Back, because it's kind of like, it's like a kid book, but it's kind of a little bit dark. But it's fun. It's a fun book. There we go. So we'll put this stripe of color down. We'll fill in a couple lines. We don't need to have heaps and heaps or anything, because again, I don't know how much at this stage I'm actually going to read. But we'll give myself enough space for 5 books. That feels right. and then I'll only get to 3 books, and then I'll be sad, but 5 books looks good. So, we want to have a space to specify the card. And that will only be like a little bit. Then the points, which will be a little bit, and then the title. I could possibly put the author in there if I want to, but I'm just going to let it be that long. If I decide partway through the month that I also want to have the rating as well, I'll put the rating in, but I don't feel any particular need to do that yet. I'm going to just dry this off, and then I will add Rachel to my list. Hee. Drying. Joy's kind of looking at you weird, so I'm going to just hold that down, because otherwise every time she pops up, she's like, bam, I'm here. It's me. I quite enjoyed Inside Out too. I think as far as sequels goes, it did a pretty good job. So that looks cute. We've got the card. So if I draw like an 8, I'll just write like the number 8 down. Then I can decide how many points I am assigning it to it. So it's like, okay, well, I pulled an 8. That's book in a series. So is it a start of a series, continue a series, or complete a series? Pick that, put it down. Nice. And then write in the title of whatever I read. If I decide at some point I want to do a rating, then the last 5 lines are going to get dedicated to do ratings. But I will also be adding these reads to my official list of things that I've read, wherever that is. It's further back than this. all the way back here somewhere. There we go. Which does have the rating on it, so it's like I don't really need to do it twice. Yeah. Let's see. You don't see the Discord link. That's because it gets emailed to you, so you need to check your email. Hopefully that's come through. Also, tink. Oh, I'm so excited about this. It's going to be so good. So now I guess it's time to actually go and tackle these, which requires me to move this guy out of the way. Go over there. Go think about what you've done. And I'm going to need to get some space on my desk so that I can actually do some computer work, because this one is going to require me to do some printing. Now I was copying the things across before, and I was doing a really great job until they decided to just like stuff up. Let's see. Where was my document? The ones on here have decided to stuff up as well, which is kind of frustrating. So I might just go through and actually save all of the pictures that I'm planning on using as PNG files or something. It's being a little bit silly. So just so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So I figured I'll just save each of these because I've just got the card files. And I'm wondering if I can save them just by dragging them, or if I actually have to like save image as, gosh, just on the desktop. Oh, it's a SVG file. Maybe that's no. Okay, 2. Save image as 3. I'm just hoping that if I save the image, it'll play the game a little bit better. 5. Save image as 6. Save image as 7. This also gives me the opportunity to edit the pictures as well, like make them a different color or whatever, which would be kind of cool. 8. Save image as 9. And make sure I type in the right thing. Otherwise, escandalo. I'm just going to save this one as 11, even though it's not 11. It's just to keep it in order. Save image as 12 and 13. And then this one will be save image as 1. And then the nice part is that I can probably resize these a lot easier with them being on my computer rather than like trying to stuff around with things or whatever. Okay, so now as I have the card images saved, I'm going to pull them into Photoshop so that I can edit them to make them like sepia tone or like just brown effectively. That's effectively what I want. I just want them to be brown. So let's see. How are we going to do this in a way that doesn't suck? We'll just open up the first one and we'll go from here. So here's my card, one of them, and I'm going to bring in all of the other ones as well so that then we can edit them all at once. It just makes my life a little easier. Just drag and copy. Yep, sweet. We'll just enter, place all of the images. And I'm going to change the dimensions of this because I don't like the fact that it just looks a little bit like pinched. What's the word? The ratio isn't quite what I want it to be. I want it to be a little bit wider. So I guess in that case we would do image size, centimeters, height. Okay, so if the height is 38.1, oh my gosh, how do I do math in my head? So if I want 2 centimeters so if I divide it by 2 and then times it by 1.5, then it should be 28.57. 28.57-ish. No, oh god, it's locked. Ah. What was this number before? Okay, we're just gonna cancel that. It'll just be easier. Okay, image size 38.1 divided by 2 times by 5 is 28.58. 28.58. There we go. Press OK. Please work. It's thinking about it. Okay, now you look a little bit fat in the face, but if we drag this guy up, number 1, the ace just looks better. Stuff it. You can just be a fat-faced king. It fits the vibe. It's fine. So that looks cute. I like that. That makes me happy. So now we need to find a color that doesn't suck. I'm just going to go see what I'm playing around with here. So if we find that's way too orange. But let's see. Saturation goes down. That's like pinky kind of color. And then we can go a little darker. But I think I want it to be a little bit more brown. Does it have a sepia filter? Possibly. I have no idea. Like it might do. Because what I was planning on doing, just, out of interest, was effectively just playing around with the hue and just being like, okay, there we go. They're all brown. Done. Like, just make it kind of like that. Which means that anything red would kind of end up being like a different color. I mean, obviously, I don't want it to be maybe that brown, but you can see how if you change the color, it just like changes the entire card color. Just make it really interesting. Very, very easy mode for myself. I don't want them to be that color though. That color is not what I'm looking for, but I just need to find a color of brown that's in here that's not too aggressive. That's too aggressive. Or at least like, I mean, okay, I can do this and then I can also make the saturation on this one go down a little bit so that then it's not quite so punchy. So if I like turn the saturation down by 31-ish, then it's that kind of brown color, but it's not too aggressive. Ooh, too low. Let's see. Make it really aggressive. That one really turns it up. Okay, I'm just dicking around now. You insulted the king. Off to the dungeon with you. I know, right? I'm not being very friendly. So I think that roughly -22 kind of works. But there probably is an easier way. I'm just messing around, I guess. I just want to make it so that it's all brown all at once. I also don't really want the corners to be colored in, so I need to go and fix that as well. Because there's obviously a layer that's messing around with stuff. But that's okay. I can go delete that later. All right, let's think. Because I don't play around a lot with filters when I do a lot of my Photoshop-esque kind of things. My Photoshop stuff is making live stream thumbnails and making sure that my Instagram pictures have a little thing that says, hey, this is by Jess. I don't really play around a lot with this kind of stuff very often. But in terms of saturation, we're just going to turn that down a little bit to make it a little more subdued. And doesn't need to be quite as bright. Because I like my beige tones. So that doesn't look like, in terms of the actual color layer, doesn't look too bad. You click on the Properties tab and select Hue Saturation. There's a preset dropdown that has sepia in it. Alrighty, let's go have a look. So you reckon it is in Properties tab. Yup. And Hue Saturation, wherever that is. Question mark? Is it because I picked a pixel? What does... Dun, dun. Okay, we will also say I recently updated my Photoshop, so I have no idea where things are. But you said properties. This says pixel layer. I don't know what that means, so that doesn't really help. And there's nothing in here to say that I need to rasticize it. I have chosen a layer. Well, selected a layer. This is also a layer, I suppose. I am sure that you know what you're talking about. I'm just not that way. This isn't my level of smarts, but that's okay. I think I'll just continue with what I was doing because I think that I can at least figure it out roughly. There we go. That's the level of saturation. That's the level of that color. That's fine. Ah, wrong. There we go. We're being quite slack here. There are easier ways to do things. I am just not the person to do them. So I'm just going to copy that down for all of them. I mean, I don't think I really need to do it for the black layers, but I also would like the black layers to have less black on them, I guess. Maybe I need to make them lighter, I guess is probably what I'm thinking to myself. So if that's my hue layer, that's my saturation layer. I also want this to be a little bit more... Because it would be nice if it had some... what's the word for it? It would be nice if the black was actually a tad brown, which means that it needs to be lighter so that then it can actually pick up on the color. Yeah? Am I talking schmack? Maybe. But then brightness and contrast. Brightness doesn't do that because brightness will just make the whites brighter. So then I guess I need to go into the hue and saturation layer and make the lightness greater, which then just makes it a little bit more light everywhere, which isn't quite what I want either. Okay. Let's see. I just go to actions and make a new action and then record said action of me just going, what do we say? Image, adjustments, hue and saturation, increase the lightness by like 20. And then stop. And then this action, we can give it a quick function key. So I just need to do F4, like Control F4. And then just go and do that for all of them. Control F4, F4, F4. And this is just going to go through and lighten all of those layers for me so that then the brown color that I put in will actually show up, which will be nice. So that'll be those two. Which I feel like I don't want those corners in there, and I'm just going to go and get rid of those first. So that's what my magic wand, my magic wand tool. There we go. And we're just going to select those and delete them off of both of these layers so that then they are gone. Yay! All right. And again, there is probably an easier way to do this, and somebody with better Photoshop skills knows what it is, and that person is not me. But the nice part about this is that then all of my little pictures will be the right orientation, or rather like dimensions. They'll be in the right color, and then when I print them off, they're going to look so bloody cute. I am excited. And I'm doing all of this work simply because I don't want to have red and blue in my journal. Which seems a little silly, but it is what it is. I am going to rename all of these before I re-export them as well, because I'll just make my file placement a little easier as well. There we go. So we have our series of cards. Ah, it's so cute. Oh my gosh. Let's see. This does feel like, probably for some people, a lot of work for something that probably doesn't need this much work, but I don't care. I like it, and I'm excited about it. This is probably the most work I've put into one of my reading journal layouts in ever, like ever. So I hope this page feels very blessed because of it. Let's put the right number in. 2, 1. There we go. So we will export these pictures. I'm just going to put them into book covers because then they won't be on the desktop. Alrighty, all of that work just to print these little pictures, which is the kind of thing that like you could just draw them in. I just think it'll look really cute, tink, if they're printed and put in that way. So now going back to our document from before. Let's see, where is it? This one? This one, yeah. So making it nice and big and visible. So we've already set the dimensions of this page. They are ready to roll. We are just going to insert our pictures. And by that, I mean, I'm going to insert like one picture at a time. And then I need to go and find, not that one, something else to fill this space with. We do not need it to be that big. That is ridiculous. We only need it to be 2 centimeters tall. Look at that. We did our math right. Praise be. Yay us. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing. So A starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're not going to put them all down the side of the page, though. That seems a bit silly. We're just going to go and delete these parts. Oh, so close. So close to having the whole line across. Maybe if I delete the spaces, then we can get rid of that space. Yeah, okay, fine. Though I do want them to have the little lines, so I'm going to undo that. I want to be able to have the little border on them when I stick them in, just because otherwise the white of the card will just blend into the background. What I don't want, though, is having every single card be the exact same. So we're going to change this one from my device and go put number 2. Go put in number 3. Go put in number 4. There we go. And just effectively go through 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, the Jack, the Queen, and the King. Let's see. You thought the 21st was far away? Yeah, I know, right? It's this month has gone quite quickly. I mean, it's not over. We still have 8-9 days of it left, but still. You need better Photoshop skills, you can't be bothered doing it. Yeah, that's completely fair. Like, to actually learn all of the ins and outs of Photoshop, quite a task. So now as I have this page, we zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see how much of it we've actually used. We've used just the top row of this page. That does not feel like enough page used to warrant printing this. I'm also going to change my margins just slightly to make sure that I have enough. I really want to make sure that I capture the border of that ace and or the king there, so that then I don't accidentally cut it off, just so that each of my little cards does have a little border on it. So because I have a lot of a page left, what I would then do is go and print off a whole bunch of book covers, put little covers in here for things that I could use in my reading journal. The problem is that because I do this so often, I have quite a stack of ones that I've already got in here. So I don't know where I'm going, obviously. At the back, I have all of these already. Like, this is already a series that, well, 2 series that Rachel has said that I should read. And then I've also got all of the ones back here that I've already started printing off. So I need to go and think about, like, well, what other books possibly would I want to print covers off of to put into this series. I was talking about reading the Princess Diaries. I have what's the word? Like a craving to read it. So I might go and add that into the lineup. So maybe I'll go to Goodreads and find those. So when it comes to finding book covers, because I don't mind using Goodreads, so I just jump over to Goodreads and do that. We'll see if I can show you what that looks like. Goodreads, yes, please. We'll do this one. We'll do that one. There we go. So I don't even. Is that Meg Cabot? Meg Cabot wrote the Princess Diaries. So I'm just gonna pull this tab out so I can just do this one. So the Princess Diaries 3.0. How dare they? I think it's the kind of thing that I'm like, do I actually want to read it enough to warrant I would have to print off this cover? This cover is the best one because that's what I used to have. And this is the best part. You can use the alternate editions or whatever section to find the cover design that you actually want to use. Also a major movie. Yeah, so I'm like, I really would like to read this again. It was fun. It was a fun book. But I'm like, do I want to read it enough to warrant printing off every single picture? Yeah, I think I do. So I'm gonna and just make sure I've got the design that I want. Yeah, because those ones are all in a different language. So let's go and find all of these little covers. And just because this one here, like it's not the best quality image, to be honest, but when I print it as small as I do, it doesn't really matter. So Princess Diaries, Princess in the Spotlight is book 2, book 3, book 4. How many of these are there? Book 4.5, 5, 6. Did I just open 6? I think I opened 6. Yep. Oh my god, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 7.75, ridiculous. 7, like 8, 9, and then 10, and then 11. Oh my gosh. 12. I've really committed to this now. And then Princess Lessons is like something else. That's fine. We don't need those ones. But now what we need to do is go and find the edition that I want to have the print off cover of. Because like this one's take 2 and it doesn't look quite right, does it? And that one probably is the most appealing one. So we're going to go through each of these and find the design that I actually want to print off. Because I like the one with the little cartoony cover, because that's the one that I used to read when I was a kid. Even though some of these have like sticker designs on them, or like, now a major movie and all of this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit frustrating. But again, I'm printing them off small, so it doesn't like really matter. Sixational. Yay. Princess Diaries Christmas special. Oh, Scandalo. I used to have, when I read the Princess Diaries, like when I was really into it, they had this like how to be a princess book or whatever, which is this just like little book about life advice. It was silly, but it was cute. So I used to have that because I thought it was, it was part of the series. I had to have it. And I loved that they had all of the characters in there giving you advice about things, using their own kind of accents and whatever. So the thing with this one is that we don't have, the only version that has the kind of cartoony images are definitely in different languages. So I might need to go find that somewhere else. Okay, Sweet 16 Princess Meg Cabot. So this one I'm probably going to have to, okay, that one, Yearbook 2007. That looks different. That's not the right thing. Ugh, I'm going to have to find that another time, I think. That's going to be Struggle Bus. That's a different thing as well. That's Sixational. I don't remember which one we're looking for. 7.75. It might also be because they were like halfway books. They're not like part of the official series, possibly. Like after 8. Oh, she got a haircut. How cute is that? Good for her. There we go. We'll put that one in. And this is such a side tangent that like does not need to be done on a stream, but like whatever. We're hanging out together. It's cool. I feel like if I get to number 9, then I can just print off more covers. So because these ones, like, again, we have them all in a different language. So I'm going to have to go and like actually search them out. But the ones that we've got so far, we've got this guy here. So we can open that image in another tab, which again, they're smaller, but it's all right because we're going to print them small. So it doesn't really matter. There we go. We're going to open up all of these and we're going to add them into our list of things to print off. Then she changed her style, which is always makes me sad because then they don't match, but also they're not all going next to each other on the exact same page, so like it doesn't really matter. There we go. So these ones are all going to go into the lineup, which is nice, and I'm just going to keep them open so that I can copy them across. And then it's a question of figuring out, well, what else do I want to read? Like a stream of tangents. So for instance, something that I know I want to read is I want to read that series like from Blood and Ash or whatnot, because I've seen that pop up a couple of times. That looks pretty good. I just need to make sure that I haven't already printed the covers off, because like I print a lot of them. They all sit in the back here, and I don't necessarily remember that I've printed them off. So like that's a TV show, so that's fine. We've got these guys here that I've already printed. That's a TV show. That's a book. I really should sort these into little piles that make it a little easier to find the ones I'm looking for. I've got Haunting Adeline, because Rachel was reading it and she said I should read it. So I'm like, okay, I'll print it off. I want to read Lore Olympus, so I've got the Lore Olympus. I know that she said that the Ali Hazelwood series with all of the kind of like love and STEM would be something that I might be interested in. So I'm like, maybe I could go find the series of that and print those ones off that isn't the Love Hypothesis. The only reason I was holding off is like, what if I don't like the Love Hypothesis? But I probably will. I find enjoyment in most things I read, but that could possibly be because I either don't have critical thinking skills or I just like my bar for entry in terms of enjoyment is low. Like or maybe I'm just selective enough with what I do put on my TBR and what I do actually select in terms of reading, which means that then I don't end up not enjoying things as much. But I'm going to grab some more of those covers just while we're hanging here together, just to kind of show you what it would actually look like in terms of putting it onto the document, which we do have a much like shorter video about how to do this, but general gist. So we're going to bring this guy back nice and big. So here you would paste your cover image in. You know, this is probably too big for what we want. A cartoon child with a backpack. And then we would go to the picture format and just resize it to what we want. I like to print mine so that they are 6 centimeters tall. And this one is going to print it so that it is 3.8 centimeters wide. I usually don't mess around with the width because I don't really care if they're not the same width as each other. I really just care about the height. So we've got that one already. We can then go copy the next one over, copy image, put it here, right next to it. Make sure that it's also 6 centimeters, which this one's going to be 3.93 wide. Again, I don't really mind. I'll just paste all of those in so that I can have my full sheet. And once I'm happy that I've used up the most amount of space, that is when I will print it. Now, obviously, this one's a little tricky because we have the little cards in here as well, which again have decided that their border is just not going to show up. But I'm thinking that with these ones, I might just put them down a line or something. One less. There we go. And then I'll make it so that these ones can be moved around. So rather than being in line with the text, I'll set it so that they're like on top of the text or whatnot. So then I can just go pull them to sit here, and then I don't waste any of my space, which is preferable for me personally. What do we say? In front of text, just sit it here, so that then when I print it off, I haven't wasted any of that space. Now I can put those down the side as well. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing with this page. Because I need to go on a giant manhunt for a bunch of different books, I'm probably going to go and do that in my own time. But look at how cute it is. So we'll have our little card designs in here. Then once those card designs are in, I'll just stick a little bit of visual interest down the bottom, just some tape. We've got our list of people who have been recruited to the readathon, and we've got our readathon rules. And then on the other side here, this is where I'm going to write down the stuff that I'm actually like reading as part of it. What you've learned is that you should get some sticker print paper. It makes it so much easier, honestly. I very much appreciate not having to like cut it out and then get out my tape roller and put all of the tape on it and then stick them in. It's just a peel and stick because they're all made of little stickers. But anywho, gorgeous humans, thank you so much for being here with me. If you enjoyed this video, do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Let me know if you're going to be partaking in this readathon, which I will have linked in the description box if you're here on the replay. And otherwise, I will talk to you next time. Alrighty, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous people. Have a good day. Bye for now.